What is, you have a video link. What, oh, is that his, that's his email? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll get a coffee during that. You can ask 2 questions.
Uh-huh.
$20 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this hump day. Let's get over it together. Although for a few of us, it's chilly again. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Man, oh man. All right. I mean, Mark, I know you're not going outside yet. It's in the low 40s in Tampa. It's in the mid 30s in Jacksonville. It's like 30 in Huntsville. Heck, it's barely 50 in Southwest Florida. I mean, enough of this already, okay? Enough. Let's move this sucker along.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to remember this, and I understand where you're coming from. But when it's 97 for 4 straight months and I hear it's hot, I don't want to hear it.
You've never, ever, 20 years, ever heard that once from me. Not once. 20 years, never once have I said, man, it's hot. Man, it's hot. Oh, it's too hot. Not once in 20 years. You'll never hear it.
Because I thought walking outside yesterday was lovely. Absolutely lovely. I enjoyed it. Had my sweatshirt on. It was fantastic.
Okay. And maybe yesterday was. I mean, it's colder today than it was yesterday. Right now, I'm just saying, it's supposed to warm up and be warmer today than it was yesterday, eventually.
You know what needed to warm up? The U.S. bats.
There you go.
You know who else needed to maybe warm up? Aaron Judge. 4 at-bats, 3 strikeouts. Hey, yep. It's almost like the postseason.
Hello.
U.S. lost. What is this, soccer, for crying out loud?
Listen, we've been on a run.
Can we get back to playing hockey internationally where we win?
Everything. Apparently, we're the reigning champ in everything in hockey. Juniors, okay, Olympic level, men's, women's, okay, Paralympics, you name it. We are the champions in every single level of hockey, men's and women's.
But the national pastime, our big gun, the guy that they dubbed Captain America. And I don't know if it was for that amazing speech he gave or how many times he struck out.
Well, that's the problem. In a 1-game showdown, especially in baseball, anybody can go 0 for 4. Anybody. Ted Williams got 1 shot at a World Series, hit .250. Red Sox lost in 7. That was it. It was his only playoff games. Probably the greatest hitter of the last 90 years. It's baseball.
You know how much I appreciate you going historic, but Aaron Judge said this was bigger than the World Series, and he proved it by how he hit.
Well, let me tell you, boy, did that raise some eyebrows in New York. Okay, they're like, wait a minute. This is bigger than the World Series. What the heck? Okay,
I've got to say it would have been fun being there last night. That atmosphere, the Venezuelan fans, that's what you and I envision in going to a South American World Cup match.
Totally.
And for that matter, certain European teams, but we've kind of always, you and I have always kind of leaned, Argentina, Chile,
Right.
that's kind of where Brazil, that's where you and I have leaned for at least a decade in what we've always wanted to see in a World Cup match. And I saw a couple of videos yesterday of the Venezuelan fans filtering into Lone Depot Park, and the party was on.
Yep.
And it never ended.
And that's what you and I want. Okay. Not much on our bucket list, but that's what you and I want. You and I want an hour beforehand and during the 2-hour soccer. Yes. We want it to be Mardi Gras only with soccer chants. Yes. Hoping we get some action. And we'd probably get as many goals scored as we had Team USA hits and runs last night.
Your pitcher pitched fine.
Yeah, he was fine.
He was fine.
Yeah. I mean, one pitch he'd want back. He grooved the fastball low down the middle in the 5th, and Rayu hit it out. Okay. But that's not the reason they lost. Had 3 hits, 2 of them by Bryce Harper.
That was a bomb, by the way.
Yes, it was. And I hope people remember it.
Ooh.
Yeah. Clutch,
that was
too.
A bomb.
Yep. Will probably be quickly forgotten, but it shouldn't be. But yeah, you kind of got the sense too early on. It was a journeyman lefty. Now, granted, he had a lot more experience than who Team USA threw out there, but it was a journeyman lefty. He doesn't have overpowering stuff. And right away, you could see the swings that Team USA was having against him. And you're like, oh, man, they're having trouble with this guy. Why? He tops out at like 93. What's going on here? But, DeRosa was going to get criticized either way because he's got, he played the lefty-righty game, and by doing so, took a couple guys out of the lineup who had been pretty damn productive. And the U.S. lineup had not been as productive as we thought it would be. And he sat, Hendrickson, he sat Peter Crow Armstrong, okay, because they put a lefty on the hill. And who knows? I mean, Armstrong got in the game, but in the 9-hole, I don't know if he got 1 at bat. I don't even know if he got it. I think he got a second.
He got 2. He got 2, and, Cal Raleigh didn't play. And I will say, in both teams had their limitations because as I'm watching the game, and I watched the whole game, I probably missed an inning. My wife decided last night after dinner, she said, because I'm not really supposed to drive, but let's see when my mom's here, that doesn't apply anymore. I can't do it. She's 81. No, you're not driving, period. And last night, my wife said, because I told her, we had corned beef and cabbage. She made it. She did an amazing job. I was so proud of her. Right. And after we were done, she was feeling St. Patrick's Day. She said, were you serious about driving if I want a beer? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So we went to a little place, and it wasn't a St. Patrick's Day place because I can't be around crowds, but we went to a place that had some Irish beer. And she had a couple of pops, and we watched the first 2 innings without sound and then drove home when I picked it up. But so I watched a good chunk of it. And as I'm home, and I don't know, it was 5th inning-ish, and the announcers are talking about the Venezuelan relievers and what the major league clubs are allowing them to pitch.
Yep. And
I must say it was at that moment that I went, guys, this can't be in March.
Nope.
You cannot be playing a game of substance in which the manager has been told before the game how much a guy can play or pitch. That when you're handcuffing either manager, and you already mentioned DeRosa is going to get heat. The Venezuelan manager, if they would have lost, he would have gotten heat back in his home country or around the globe. because of who he pitched and when he pitched them. But that's not a real exhibition when you're handcuffed.
Yep.
Because of another team. It's one thing to have pitched a guy last night and, hey, I just don't think he has the arm. It's quite another when the Tigers call and say, you can't pitch my guy.
Yep. So they win the semifinal on Monday, and they had the 7 2/3 innings of relief they needed because they were down 2-0 in the second, and he goes to the bullpen. So he uses a lot of guys. And he said as soon as the game was over, 3 major league organizations were on the phone going, do not use our guy tomorrow at all. Don't use him. We don't want you to. Now, meanwhile, every player, is treating this on Venezuela particularly like it is the World Series. Okay, so they all want to play. And this manager, by the way, is done after the championship game. He's already announced his retirement. He's done. Okay, but he's got 3 major league teams on the phone going, do not use our guys tomorrow. Listen, DeRosa was hamstrung in this sense. Tie game going to the 9th. Mark, how do you manage these days? Tie game going to the 9th. You put your best pitcher out there. You put your closer out there. All right, because in theory, he retires the side in the 9th. You can win it in the bottom of the 9th and go home. Did the U.S. put their closer out on the hill? No. And that was with a day off. Why? Because the A's thought that they had used Mason Miller a lot. They'd used him 3 or 4 times. All right. He pitched in the semis on Sunday, and the A's said, we really don't want you to use him on Tuesday.
So, David, with that being said, I hope you're right. And I hope they do play Olympic baseball in a couple of years, and that it's done with no regard to the teams that these guys play for, that they're playing for country for 3 weeks or 2 weeks or whatever it is. But we'll see, because obviously here's an exhibition owned by Major League Baseball. They make the money off of this, and they are determining who plays in the final game. The other little observation I had, while I'm sure they announced all the players, but if people were sitting in a sports bar with no sound, and I happened to be in a bar watching the beginning of the game, when they're going through each starting lineup, there were no graphics. Not one. Now, there was some stuff on the field, so if you were there, you were able to see. But if you're trying to promote your sport, Major League Baseball, here's an idea. A graphic with who the guy plays for, and I know this sounds crazy, what his name is. Because if you're a casual fan or a non-casual fan of baseball, and you watch the postseason of baseball, maybe the All-Star game, and the numbers show that's all you watch, let us know who the hell the players are.
Well, it would be on Fox to do the graphics, but there was an elaborate pregame. They went through the lineups and they were announced, before,
that's what I'm talking about. They announced all their names, but I don't have sound. I'm in a sport. People watch games at sports bars. This is just in. If you don't have sound on, you don't know who they are. And you don't know who they play for. Miller and Moulton. Seth Everett, Orlando Alzugary, because the Dolphins made a move.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
EPA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
No, I mean, I know what you're saying. I'm sure they announced their names, but without sound, I didn't hear any of it.
Yeah,
And they didn't have a graphic up doing a damn thing.
Well, it was weird. They did pregame.
Well, with you, I mean, I guess when they had them lined up on the baselines and they went through every player, they did not. Their graphics were on the field. They had that pretty cool graphic, but they didn't show that for every player. They
Gotcha.
also just showed USA or Venezuela, not their major league team.
Well, EB and Coffenbaugh, the players are going to have to negotiate this. I mean, the hockey players forced Bettman's hand and and have, as it turned out, done a great thing for their sport. But the players wanted back in the Olympics. And Bettman had to make nice with the IOC, and he didn't really want to. Yep. I mean, as Bruce Arians said, no risk it, no biscuit. I mean, the players can get hurt, hurts the player, hurts the team. Do you want to grow the sport? Yes or no? Then you got to risk something. I mean, Mets lost their closer for a full year. Blew out his knee celebrating a win. Oh, well. Yeah, I wonder if he's going to have to. He's going to have to go somewhere else.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us on this hump day. Let's get through it together, shall we? Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. A home construction project in which you gut most of your house and build basically a brand new one on the inside, only the outside remains for those driving by on the street, or what the Dolphins' new GM has done to their roster? Which is more of an implosion or explosion, Mark Miller?
Well, I mean, David, when you do that to your own home, you increase the value of it. The value of an NFL franchise is what it is, and the Dolphins are going to lose. So I'm not as concerned about the implosion of the Dolphins as how are you going to determine anything about the quarterback that you just paid for this year when he has no one to play with? I mean, that I have no problem at all with what the Miami Dolphins are doing. But Malik Willis has a 2-year deal essentially, and you know it's 3 for Miami. You know, it's not that Willis can get out after 2, but what is it we're really going to find out about him this year? Who the hell is he going to throw the football to? So that's I guess my question with the Dolphins. But I don't at all. I don't know about you, David. I'm not questioning them. Did you see what they got for Waddle, for crying out loud? They got a first and a third. Now, they flipped 4s, so the 4 doesn't really count. They actually go backwards in the 4th round. But they got a first and a third for Jalen Waddle? Holy pachanga.
Well, remember, that was the reported deal. Denver and Buffalo were after him at the deadline last year, and reportedly, Buffalo offered a 1 and a 3. But they were offering the first-round pick in either 26, let's just say they were offering the first round pick in 27 and the third round pick in 26, and the Dolphins said, flip it, and we got a deal, and Buffalo wouldn't flip it. Denver, in turn, to further your point, Mark, Denver, in turn, said, we'll do a 1 and a 3. We'll do that in the same draft this year. And, oh, by the way, we'll flip 4s. So is it technically a little less than a 1 and a 3? Maybe. Now, what does, I think, have to be entered in is Denver is drafting 30th. So, I mean, your first round pick's at 30. Your third round pick's at, what, 94? Something like that. All right. And then, you know, the 4th round pick you're getting from them is like $130 after the supplemental picks. So, yeah, it's a 1, a 3, and a 4, but it's about as far down on the 1, 3, and 4 range as you can go. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you, by the way. I'm fine with the house cleaning. I'm fine with 170 million of their 300 million this year being dead cap money. I'm fine now with them being one of the 3 youngest teams in the league. I'm fine with all of it. All of it. They came up with a plan 5, 6, 7 years ago. All right. It didn't achieve what it needed to achieve. They didn't win any playoff games. They're starting over. Okay. I mean, wouldn't it be hypocritical of us? Don't we talk about, hey, you give it a shot, and especially with quarterbacks, you just keep doing it till you hit. So
And
Dolphins are doing it again.
You and I have not had a problem with the teardown.
Nope.
You know, a lot of franchises and a lot of fan bases have problems with the teardown. All right, I know they're much better, but where would you rather be right now? Where Miami is going forward or where Pittsburgh is going forward? Because Pittsburgh still thinks that they can be a playoff team. They've got two super expensive, really old players on their defense. They have a quarterback they might bring back that's 600 years old, and they're not very good.
Well, they're not good enough. You know, they're not good enough. They've proven that they're in the 9 to 10 win category. And, you know, that's why, hey, you know, Pittsburgh should look at Seattle closely, because what did Seattle do? Seattle went 9, 9, and 10 in the win category. And yet at the same time, while going 9, 9, and 10, they turned over the guts of the team and got rid of the coach. And then all of a sudden, boom. And Pittsburgh's looking for the boom, and we just don't see it on the roster, do we?
No.
Now,
No, and the boom happened in Baltimore. You know, I mean, they went out and got Hendrickson. They went out, and I know he's old too, but you know, and you could say Watt or Hendrickson, and I get you could make very equal comparisons, but you know, you and I think Pittsburgh's doing it wrong. They're spending all their money on defense,
right?
And their defense isn't very good,
right? It's not elite anymore, right? So that's a problem. Mm-hmm. Now, when you said what, you know, who would you rather be, the Dolphins or the Steelers? I think you need to frame it in, like, if we ask the question, who will get to an AFC championship game first or a Super Bowl first? You know, like right now we see, you know, the Steelers' floor is so much higher than the Dolphins, but the Steelers' ceiling doesn't seem to be that much higher than the floor.
Hell, I'll put it at the basics for the Dolphin. Who wins a playoff game first? Because Pittsburgh has been unable to do that
in 10 years. I know.
I mean, 10 years. Think about that.
I know. I would probably just play the percentages and go Steelers.
Well, I would too, because it's the Dolphins after all.
Right. Now, I understand why Dolphin fans may be grumpy about getting rid of all these good players because they don't trust the organization to draft the right players. And I don't blame you. I mean, Greer had a ton of misses. A ton of misses. Don't know what to tell you. He got fired. There's a new guy in charge. He comes from Green Bay. Green Bay does a good job drafting. This guy, in getting the job, is I'm all about the draft. All about the draft. Okay. I mean, you're a Dolphin fan. You're like, we just need him. You know, we need Brad Holmes. That's what we need. We need a 3-year run here. Can you just hit? And you don't even have to have that super draft that Holmes had. That would be great if you could get us a draft where your first 5 picks are all studs. That'd be awesome. But could we just have drafts where the guys you draft are good players? Could we have that first, second, and third round picks that are not busts? Could you do that for us for 3 years? We'd really appreciate it. And Mark, you and I have been talking about this team together and separately for a quarter century. Can they do it? Can they get a GM who knows how to draft the right players? Because they haven't had it. I mean, you got to go back probably to Jimmy in the late 90s. Probably the best drafting they've done.
And they've got the picks to do it this year now.
Ooh. Yeah.
I mean, 2 first round, 1 second round, 2 third round. I don't think they have a compensatory in the third. And obviously they gave up their 4th round pick to Denver, which was 108, and they get back 130. But that's 5 in the first 130. 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just
time to get it done.
no doubt. No doubt. Just good players, man. Good
They
players.
think, yeah, right. They think they found a quarterback. We'll see. They took a shot at another one. If this one doesn't work, hell, we already know they're drafting in the first 7 picks next year.
Huh.
Should be the first 5. Might be the first 3.
I like the way you're going. Keep it, Dolph fan going. Keep going, Mark. Keep
I know, but
going.
we remember the tanking for Tua, and it didn't work out that. Anything can happen when the season starts. But it's got to get better, right? Starting 5 next.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe. And your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So, David, all I've got right now we can do a Dolphins poll question. We still have our #1 seeds first out that we should I don't know if we want to do that today because tomorrow the tournament starts as people are listening. Not that a ones should lose tomorrow, so that could still be tomorrow. It is National Sloppy Joe Day, though.
Ooh.
Underrated dinner sandwiches. I bring to you the Patty Melt, the Sloppy Joe, the Cuban. And I don't know if I have a fourth yet because, you could go French dip. That would really throw a wrench in my whole game because that I feel is the best sandwich that there is. Meat and you can dip it. I don't know what else people want out of me. The Philly cheesesteak, I really can't call an underrated sandwich.
No, I do think the French dip should make the survey. Do you think the Cuban qualifies? Do you think the Cuban is underrated?
I think outside of Floridians, no one knows what the hell the Cuban sandwich is.
All right.
Tim brings up a solid point. The BLT.
I don't know that that's underrated. I think it's. Well, if we go BLT, you got to drop one.
And I don't think I think, I appreciate the Reuben, but I don't think that's an underrated sandwich. Is that a sandwich or isn't that that's a meal in and of itself? I mean, I think you can put it on a sandwich, Brian, but isn't that a meal unto itself? I could be wrong.
I was going to say, isn't it? Yeah.
And the Italian beef, while I like your enthusiasm, given the fact that Jimmy's advertised for so long, I don't know how I could put it on the list. Well, the manwich is a sloppy Joe, Mongo. I mean, it really is. It's a loose meat sandwich. One just has a can of crap on it. The other's made with love.
So we're thinking sloppy Joe, patty melt, French dip, Cuban.
I'm with you, brown chicken. Like that's why I said dinner sandwich. BLT's kind of like with your club. I think it's a lunch sandwich. I'm right there with you, brown chicken.
I still wish you'd signed Goddard and cut Evan Ingram. Morning, Dirt.
I may be having a Reuben today, Brian. Just for that same reason.
No, I know ambient, but we talked about it and talked about it again yesterday.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it. Wait a minute. Iowa guys commit crimes?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Hump Day edition, Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. A lot happened in the sports world yesterday. It seemingly always does. But before we get to it, so you're working on a poll question.
I am working on a poll question. We did get a great text, David. You began that last segment by saying a home renovation project or the Dolphins. And this gentleman says, I've done a home renovation project. It took a year and a half, multiple moves into Airbnbs. I'd rather be the Dolphins. Just for what it's worth. Pelican Roofing of Florida text line is open. 21,000 is the number. If you've never texted, the keyword is Miller. Then text as much as you would like. But yes, David, it is National Sloppy Joe Day. And I love me a Sloppy Joe. Had one the other day for lunch. Mom makes a mean Sloppy Joe. Reminds me, I don't know. I didn't grow up poor by any means, but we didn't grow up wealthy. We had a lot of meatloaf. We had a lot of Sloppy Joes. We used to have this tuna fish on toast that just the thought of it right now makes me a little sick to my stomach. So when I think Sloppy Joes, I think childhood dinners. And then I started thinking of underrated dinner sandwiches because the Sloppy Joe is there. And I don't know what you put it up against. The patty melt to me is a very underrated dinner sandwich. Everybody has a burger, but do you have a patty melt?
Right.
Takes a little more work. Got to have the right bread. Got to take the time to grill those onions.
Yep.
And it's terrific. It's a wonderful, wonderful sandwich.
Yep.
The French dip you think qualifies into the underrated. It's my favorite sandwich. So it's tough for me to think of the French dip as underrated because I can't rate it high enough.
But you did say in this question, dinner sandwich.
Correct. And I get you could have all these for lunch. I got it, everybody. I got it. But someone mentioned the BLT. I think that while could be a dinner sandwich is more of an exclusive lunch type item.
Very much so.
DC brings up the Monte Cristo. Is it underrated, or did we just pass by the time when we had the Monte Cristo sandwich?
I think we passed on the Monte Cristo. I think we
that
on.
That was a I think the last place that had one of those is when Bennigan's were still open, for crying out loud. So I've got Sloppy Joe, I've got Patty Melt, I've got French dip. I nominate the Cuban. And you said, is it underrated? Well, I'm in Tampa, one of the two places on earth that claims the Cuban sandwich, the other Miami, and they argue about it. I love a Cuban sandwich. I can't eat a Cuban sandwich right now because I can't have cold cuts. And usually the ham is a cold cut part, while the pork's usually a roast pork. There's, in fact, the Tampa one that they make, the place I was at, they put salami on it.
Ooh.
There's ham, salami, and pork. And it looked amazing.
But okay, remember in the question, underrated dinner. So once again, everybody's nominating all their favorite sandwiches. It has to fit underrated and to have it for dinner.
And, I get EB throwing the open faced out there. I'm thinking something you can grab with the hands. If I'm using a knife and a fork, it's a meal. It's not really a sandwich.
Exactly. So there you go. That's where we're thinking. It'll get posted soon. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. 18 minutes before the hour. Time for
the starting five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the starting 5.
We'll start with the World Baseball Classic. Venezuela gets it done. They held the U.S. to just 3 hits, 2 of them for Bryce Harper, including a 2-run bomb in the 8th to tie the game at 2. But Eugenio Suarez with an RBI double in the 9th. Venezuela wins the World Baseball Classic 3-2, their first title. Many consider it the greatest sporting achievement in Venezuela's history. Congratulations to them. NFL news. The Dolphins sell-off continues. Jalen Waddle is now a Denver Bronco. Dolphins get 1st, 3rd, and 4th round picks. They did have to give Denver their 4th round pick. So they're actually going to pick 20 spots later in the 4th round than they would have. So a 1 and a 3 goes to the Dolphins. They flip 4s and Waddle goes to Denver. Finn's dead cap is now $175+ million. Out of a $300 million cap, it's going to be right around 60% of their cap will be for players who no longer play for them. Will far and away be a record. Waddle, by the way, is going to count $26.3 million against the Dolphins cap this year, and he's only going to be the 3rd highest cap figure in the dead cap hit, behind Tua and Tyreek. One other NFL note. Turns out the season is going to begin on Wednesday, September 9th. The thought was it was going to begin with the Australia game. It's going to begin in Seattle. Haven't determined who the Seahawks are going to open up with, but the season will begin on NBC Wednesday night, September 9th. Thursday night, September 10th, will be the Rams and the Niners in Australia, network to be determined. Certain people are very interested in which network is to be determined. College hoops. First 4 got underway. Couple of good games. In a battle of 16 seeds, Howard led throughout, but UMBC had a chance to tie it late. Howard, their first ever tournament win, 86-83. Next up, they'll take on Michigan. Meanwhile, in the battle of the 11s, good game. Texas Tremont Mark hits the game-winning shot with a second to go. Texas 68, NC State 66. Texas will face BYU next. Mark, we talked about it yesterday. It happened again last night. Kid for Texas hits the shot. An assistant coach and a player come off the bench, run onto the court. They think the game's over. They stop about 15, 20 feet on the court, turn around, quickly run to the bench. But if you're an official, what do? I mean, that's a technical. That is. There was time left on the clock. They ran out onto the floor. The ball was still in play. No one had called timeout. If you're an official, what do? And then what are they going to do, Mark, when one of these teams is smart enough to grab the ball and inbound it and hit the coach or
Bingo.
hit the player?
You beat me to it, David. When are coaches going to teach their team? If these idiots run on the court,
Hit
when
him.
you inbound the ball, I need the player catching the ball to run right at the coach, trip over him as the ball's going. And then I want to see what call's made. Because then at that point, it's got to be a technical, right?
Has to be. But I ask you, this could be a poll question, by the way. If you're the official, what do? It's an NCAA tournament game. Second or two to go. Hits a shot. All right. Player runs out. Coach runs onto the floor. Now that ball's not inbounded, okay, but nobody's called the timeout. What they've done is against the rules. By rule, it's a technical. What do? The officials did not call the technical last night. Most people seem okay with that.
By the way, is it a one-shot technical? Because, I believe because it's a coach, it's a 2, right?
I believe it's a 2.
That's a big part of it. I mean, not being a jerk, but that's a huge part if you're asking me.
Sure. Absolutely.
Because if it's a one-shot technical and I send my play over towards the coach to catch the ball, well, great. I've got one shot. I got to bounce it off the rim and get a rebound and put it back to tie it if I'm down 2. If I'm down 1, I can tie the game. But you know the point I'm making here.
Yeah. Tonight, the Battle of 16s is Prairie View against Lehigh, and the Battle of 11s is Miami of Ohio, 5-point underdogs against SMU. Women's tourney also gets underway tonight. ESPN2, Battle of 16s and Battle of 11s. Nebraska-Richmond, the Battle of the 11s. 9 games in the NHL, but the headline is first Austin Matthews and now Leon Draisaitl out for the rest of the regular season with a lower body injury suffered after taking a hit the other night in Nashville. It was a clean hit. I mean, no penalty called, just a hockey play. But Draisaitl out the rest of the regular season. Lightning go to Seattle. Kucherov saying, are you guys going to vote for me for MVP one of these years? A hat trick and 2 helpers. 5-point night in their 6-2 win over the Kraken. Panthers lost in Vancouver 5-2. Mark, you didn't get your wish. Boston and Montreal went overtime. The Canadiens won 3-2. Wings and Bruins tied for the final playoff spot. 1 point ahead of Columbus. Blue Jackets beat Carolina 5-1. Islanders 2 points ahead of Columbus with a 3-1 win over Toronto. The Wild won their 10th game in overtime this year. Unbelievable. 4-3 over Chicago. Nashville, big 2 points for the Preds in a shootout. 4-3 over Winnipeg. They're just 2 points out of the playoffs. Edmonton, 5-3 over San Jose. San Jose's on the outside looking in, and a lot of us want to see Celebrini in the playoffs. And the Sabres keep winning. They went to Vegas, 2-0. They stay 4 points ahead of the Lightning. 8 games in the NBA, and only 2 of them decided by less than 12 points. Unbelievable. Charlotte beat the Heat by 30. Orlando lost at home to OKC, 113-108. Orlando's the 6th seed. The Heat are in the play-in as of this morning. Your Pistons handed Washington their 13th loss in a row by 13. The Knicks handed the Pacers their 14th loss in a row by 26. Cleveland beat Milwaukee, 123-116. T-Wolves over the Suns. Suns are the 7th seed. Minnesota in a 3-way tie for 4th with Denver. And I forget who the other team is, to be honest with you. My bad. Embiid didn't play for the 7th straight year in Denver. Nuggets beat the Sixers 124-96. Philly's fallen all the way to the 9 seed. Oh, yeah. San Antonio beat Sacramento in Sacramento by 28, led by 31 at the half. This product sucks. It's awful.
And by the way, it's Houston, Denver, and Minnesota all tied. They're all 4, 5, 6, all tied in the West.
Lakers are up to the 3 temporarily.
Correct.
By the way,
They've been on a bit of a roll.
NIT got underway yesterday. 8 winners were Liberty, UNC Wilmington, Wichita State, Oklahoma State, Tulsa, Seattle University. Auburn beat South Alabama by 11. The spread was 11.5. And UNLV, they were all the winners. The NIT's turned it into a mid-major tournament.
Right, because none of the Power 4 teams that get invited seemingly want to go.
And none of the mid-majors are getting invited to the NCAA tournament. Mark, after all this time, the WNBA and the Players Union agreed in principle to a new deal last night.
Thank goodness. Where would we have been without that agreement?
For the first time, they're going to tie salaries to revenue growth. So in previous years, I think the most a player could make was around $250,000. Now you could have a player making 7 figures. Regular season begins in 51 days. Between now and then, they have to have a draft, an expansion draft, free agency, and training camps. They got a lot to do in the WNBA, but they're going to be playing. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was the starting 5, brought to you by Lee County, Florida. Building a better community through the tried and true method of BST, business, sports, and tourism. How about that? So there you have it. Seriously, though, you're the official. What do? They run out on the court. There's between 1 and 2 seconds left to play. Time was not called. The team hasn't inbounded the ball, but the ball is still in play if the team chooses to inbound it. The player off the bench or the coach off the bench do not belong on the floor. What do?
I'm not calling a technical unless the scenario that we talked about happened. I'm now telling my guys, I'm literally, I don't know if I'm doing it during the game, but maybe the last thing I do at practice is remind them, hey, if we're in a situation and we're losing or we give up a bucket to go down, whoever inbounds the ball needs to look for where the coach or the player that run on the court, and one of you needs to run into them. Because without that, if I'm the ref, I'm not just calling it for them running out. I'm not doing it.
Okay. But see, to me, Mark, I'm just saying hit them with the ball. Whether one of my players is there or not, hit them with the ball.
Yeah, you're right. You can pass it to him, and the player can just look. I thought it was one of my players. He's on the court. A quick motion, he was open.
I inbounded the ball. Right. Whatever. Ball hits the coach. I think it's 2 free throws. I think if he hits the player, it's 1.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it
Your
real.
roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Some rings are beautiful. Takori rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Takori brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and Takori's newest fine jewelry for spring. Here for one unforgettable weekend. The Legend of Takori. April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Espanol.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I'm just, I don't know if I'm impressed or embarrassed to the fact that adults still keep doing trading cards. That's just, I don't know where to go there. Kermit, that's a, if that's you, then knock yourself out. And football cards at that. I didn't, I know all rookie cards are there, but I kind of, it was a baseball card or nothing thing. And obviously that sport sucks now, although it's better than basketball, but you get the point. Is there a market for football cards? I have no idea. I really don't. I'm guessing, I think I'd rather have Pokemon cards. I think they're worth more. Yes, you play in a tough division. I mean, let me ask you this question, because you've already gone Super Bowl or bust basically on March 18th. Okay. You can have last season again or not make the playoffs. Which do you want? I'm having trouble with Cuban on this because I don't think of a Cuban as a dinner sandwich. That's my
Okay. I'm fine.
So sloppy Joe, patty melt, French dip. I can stop right there. Is there another dinner sandwich? By the way, it's a sandwich that you have to put both hands on, not an open face sandwich. I get open face, open face turkey sandwich, open face roast beef sandwiches. We got gravy involved. They're wonderful things.
Yeah. So, silverware. RGM, don't most people just have meatloaf?
Well, yeah. Your leftover meatloaf can become a meatloaf sandwich. I had those for lunch as a child in my lunchbox.
Right.
With the leftover meatloaf and then ketchup put on it.
See, I would think RGM, that's a lunch sandwich.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Thanks for being with us. Seth Everett next hour. Orlando Alzugary, the Big O. Well, not that Big O. Our Big O. He'll join us in about 90 minutes' time. All right. We think we finalized the poll question. Key words in the question. Underrated dinner. Every sandwich is lunch. Underrated dinner sandwich.
And obviously, you can have all of these sandwiches for lunch, but it's National Sloppy Joe Day. And Sloppy Joes were a dinner staple when I grew up.
Absolutely.
Obviously, David, you and I grew up in a time, and I don't know if you took your lunch from home in a lunchbox or you had hot lunch at school, but I always took, Mom made lunch. Lunch was cold cuts. Lunch was a ham sandwich, a salami sandwich, something along, a lot of bologna sandwiches, to be really honest with you.
Very much
a lot of bologna in my world as a child.
Yes. It was cheap.
So Sloppy Joe's on the list. Patty melts on the list. Can you have these for lunch? Of course you can.
Can have every sandwich for lunch.
French dip. And see, then I have the Cuban. And the Cuban to me is more of a lunch thing. I don't know if I've ever had a Cuban for dinner. Doesn't mean you can't. Right. They're amazing. Someone on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line suggested the tuna melt. I think lunch there, but we have the patty melt. That you are upping the tuna sandwich. Had a lot of those as a kid too. A lot of those tuna sandwiches.
Oh yeah, a lot of bologna, a lot of tuna fish.
Boy, it stunk up the locker something fierce. That tuna sandwich. That's bringing back some memories.
By the way, what lunch boxes do you remember? I remember I had.
Sorry, you asked. I thought you were asking me a question. I was answering the question. I apologize, David. I didn't know you were. I didn't know you were going on. But the only one I remember, believe it or not, is I had a Sweat Hogs lunchbox. That's the only one I remember.
Wow, that's a cool lunchbox. At least back in the day.
That's like second grade for me. It's the only one. I'm sure I had more, but that's the one I remember.
Wow, boy, I would have loved one of those too. I remember an NFL lunchbox. And I remember it, Mark, because I put it down. We were waiting in line for the bus, and my bus was like the second bus in line. And for whatever reason, I put my lunchbox down, and I went to help somebody with something, and I came back, and the first bus decided to go, and they ran right over my lunchbox. Crushed my NFL lunchbox, and I mean crushed it. And I had my sweater rolled up inside it. And I remember coming home, taking the lunchbox, putting it on the table, kind of like there's a sweater in there. My mother looking at me like, I'm not buying you another lunchbox, You get one for the year.
And I didn't have many lunchboxes, because Dad took lunch to work as well. And it's not like Fred was taking a lunchbox. Fred brown bagged it, which meant as his son, what did you want? You wanted to be like dad. So I brown bagged it most every day. Never really had a lunchbox. Had the brown paper bag with my lunch in it. And that, again, is why the locker stunk fierce from a tuna fish sandwich when I had those.
And I remember having lunch boxes and not brown paper bags for whatever reason. I'm sure my mother's listening. She could tell me if I was right or wrong, but I just remember the lunch boxes, at least in grade school. Anyway.
Occasionally the thermos with some chili in it. Every once in a while, I'd get the soup for lunch and get the chili, or even the pasta, the leftover pasta from the night before.
Nice.
In the thermos.
Yeah. I never had anything hot. Everything was cold.
So sloppy Joe, patty melt, French dip. I'd have trouble putting the Cuban up there because I don't think of it as a dinner sandwich. I'll let this breathe through the segment. Let the texters chime in.
21,000 on the text line or in the YouTube or Twitch chat rooms. Let us know.
A lot of people chiming in with sandwiches, David, that are meals put into a sandwich, like a chicken parm sandwich. If it's a meal that you have to put bread on, does it really count? I'm not saying they're not good things. I'm not.
Yeah, see, to me, it's like, meatloaf sandwich was nominated. Well, the dinner meal is meatloaf.
Right.
Okay, chicken parm is the dinner meal.
Right, and we're not doing this for hockey players.
So anyway, that's where we're leaning on this National Sloppy Joe Day. We're also leaning to asking, hey, officials, we all put ourselves, as umpires or officials. Oh, well, if I was the official, I would. Okay, all right. We've had an epidemic in the last week in college basketball of coaches and or players running out onto the floor when a last-second shot is hit, but there's still time left on the clock. By rule, it's a technical. Most times lately, it has not been called. It wasn't called last night when Texas hit the game-winning shot with 1 second to go, and a coach and a player ran off the bench, got about 15 feet onto the floor, realized, turned around, came back. Sean Miller, the Texas coach, is still yelling at his assistant.
And Dick Vitale and Charles Barkley are talking about something that has nothing to do with the game.
Oh, my goodness. Did you catch late first half? They go on. Texas didn't score for 6.5 minutes of game action. Not just 6.5 minutes on your watch. 6.5 minutes of game action. All right. And finally, these two are talking about the future of college sports and NIL and this, that, and the other thing. And Brian Anderson says, guys, that's all well and good. None of that will win in court. Okay. None of it will. And Barkley said, if you're the NCAA, it's your house. You make the rules. Let somebody fight it. And Brian laughs and goes, well, they have, and they win every time. Okay. And that's all he said. There's a minute left in the half. 6.5. And Brian Anderson finally goes, guys, there's a game here. It was a 2-point game. 2-point game. They had talked for 2 segments about anything but the game. And we wondered what kind of a broadcast would Barkley and Dick Vitale be. And oh, by the way, Brian Anderson's voice, shot.
Now that's what, David, I didn't watch a second of game action. I watched the baseball and then I went to bed. And I told you before, I had no interest in NC State, Texas. However, in between innings or a pitching change or something happened, and it was 5 minutes after 9:08, something like that. I'm like, ooh, it's about to start. And I'd been flipping back and forth. So I watched the first, 6 minutes pregame when they finally flipped it from the studio set to the game. And the 3 of them are on camera. My wife who was sitting with me, she goes, "What's this love fest? Are they gonna, is this just them kissing up to one another?" My wife, who doesn't care. And I said, well, and I explained the whole dynamic that Vitale works for another network, and it is kind of a big deal to get someone to work for me. I looked at her and said, that would be like you going to work for another veterinarian. They don't allow that. You have a contract with your guy. You work for him. He's not going to let you go work for Team B. And she's like, okay, I get it. It's cute, whatever. But when my wife goes, what is this love fest? I was stunned what came out of her mouth, but I pretty much knew right then there was not going to be a lot of basketball discussed, if you know what I mean. I mean, they pretty much let you know that they were going to kiss each other's butts for 2.5 hours.
Well, Barkley off the very top, if you missed it, said, this is one of the highlights of my career. I have tried for 15 years to do a game with you. And contractually, it could never happen. And I'm glad that you and I were finally able to make this happen. Okay, but Barkley, said 15 years I've been trying to do a college basketball game with you. And finally, we're able to pull it off.
And it was the two of them sitting on a couch, watching college basketball, discussing whatever it is that they wanted to discuss.
And Barkley had amazing things to say about Vitale, his contributions to the game. Also, as he said, in your contributions to cancer research.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, he did. He gave Dickie V his flowers, which are well-deserved. And, but don't laugh. I was waiting for Turner to go to the bullpen. I was waiting for Brian Anderson to not be there coming out of break because his voice was shot. To me, it was annoying. It was annoying. It was annoying. Okay. He's a terrific broadcaster, by the way. This is not Brian Anderson, but listen, when you lose your voice, you lose your voice. Listen, I saw CBS do it to Sean McDonough in the 90s. McDonough and Raft are doing the NCAA tournament. CBS pulled the plug on McDonough at halftime and made Tafoya walk over from her sideline job and do play-by-play the second half. His voice was shot.
And that was a tougher listen hearing him talk than Vitale and Barkley talk about the NHL. I mean, so I'm with you.
I'm laughing because it's true, man. Come on. How much of Texas and or NC State do we think Charles Barkley has seen this year?
None. None. If it would have been in Texas, maybe when they played Auburn, that's really your only shot.
Right. If they played this year, yes. Possible.
So, David, I've had a couple people in the chat room. You and I disagree. I've had a couple people on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line put this sandwich in. I've had this one for dinner more than I've had a Cuban for dinner, so I've relented. The BLT.
Ooh.
Sloppy Joe, patty melt, French dip, BLT. Those are your 4 sandwiches. Which is the most underrated dinner sandwich? That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. Seth Everett coming up top of the 8 o'clock hour. Orlando Alzugary coming up a little after 8:30 time to talk about the Dolphins and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I can guarantee you I'll get a question in on that because I'm more interested in his thoughts there than I am on the Dolphins. But he has strong thoughts about the Dolphins, no doubt. Miller and Moulton, Hump Day edition. Vote on the poll question. Text us your answers if you're not on X, Pelican Roofing of Florida text line.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
If Love's there for the Giants, do they have to take him? I don't know about have to, but you know what I'm getting at.
I do. I can't take him. I don't think I can take him over the Miami defensive end. I don't think I can take him over Bain. But then again, the Giants actually don't have a need at his position either.
Phil's fan, do you really think a cheesesteak is an underrated sandwich?
Yeah. Once again,
I mean,
underrated.
I know you're just
dinner.
joining in, but you know, I mean, I know everybody from Philadelphia thinks everything about their city's underrated. But I mean, there are chains called cheesesteak.com or whatever. Or cheese. I mean, there's a cheesesteak chain down the road from me. I mean, I don't think it's underrated.
Underrated dinner sandwich.
It's a great sandwich. I love a cheesesteak. Like a patty melt's an underrated sandwich. You don't see a patty melt everywhere. You know, patty melt's a sandwich. If it's on the menu, you go, ooh, patty melt. You don't see that every day.
It's my go-to. When I see it, I order it.
Yeah, the night couldn't have gone any worse for my hockey team. Tampa won. Montreal, Boston go to a shootout. Columbus wins. I mean, that was just the Islanders win. I mean, every single thing that you didn't want to happen happened.
Yep.
Oh, well. Good. Make them do it the right way.
Yep. You guys have played yourself to the point where now it's on you.
Yep. No doubt. 100%. 100%, David.
Or the NHL would do the happy flipping dance if they could get a first round Buffalo Detroit series. Oh my God. Because then they'd be guaranteed one of them would get through.
And that would do numbers. There are Sabres and Wings fans from coast to effing coast.
Think about it. You've waited 10 years for that series. They've waited 15.
Right. I mean, I will say, you got Pittsburgh looks like they're going to be back in the playoffs. Yeah, you'd rather have the Rangers at the Islanders, but you got a New York team in the mix. No, I mean, you obviously would.
Yeah,
no
doubt. No doubt.
I mean, You got Boston in the mix right now. Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. Would you rather, Carolina doesn't do anything, but I mean, it's about as good as you can get it in today's world.
What, to have Detroit, Boston, Buffalo, and
Pittsburgh.
who all didn't make the playoffs last year to make the playoffs this year? Yeah, the NHL's fine.
The Kings may get in, which doesn't hurt things out west. Vegas, although I could argue for the game, Celebrini would be better than the Kings making it.
I was going to say, do you want LA, Colorado, or San Jose, Colorado? Do you know the Lightning lead the league in fighting majors?
I did not know that, but we've talked about it. They're a little feistier than people let on. Well, I don't know. I mean, a blackened grouper Reuben, you're really going way underrated. I mean, it's a kind of a Florida thing.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Seth Everett will join us at the top of the hour. Orlando Alzugary in a little more than an hour. Mark will get his thoughts on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'll get a Dolphins question in. It'll be a good time. That's in a little more than an hour. Hey, did you hear the news last night? College coaching news. The South Florida head coach there, Hudson, who was asked before he got into coaching, okay, questions about his background and what have you. Favorite team growing up, Syracuse.
Who offered him a job yesterday, David?
Syracuse.
What did he tell Syracuse?
No.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. Think about that. You may not like them, and I'm one that doesn't, because anytime they're good, you got to listen to every damn announcer in the country gush over Syracuse because 90% of them went to school there. It's the most annoying thing in the world to me. But it's Syracuse. I mean,
right.
They've won a title. They played for others. They were good for a generation, maybe two.
They've been to Final Fours in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and teens. Now, it looks like they're not going to make it this decade, but think about that. That's pretty damn impressive to make a Final Four in 5 consecutive decades.
It also shows John Henderson, who was on the show earlier this week, talking about the South Florida Bulls, said even if they lose him, and they still may because Providence is lingering. Yes. So it's not a for sure thing that he stays in Tampa.
Right.
But by all accounts, Tampa has made him a very lucrative offer to stay with South Florida.
Yes.
I hope for South Florida's sake that he does. I really do.
Similar to apparently the St. Louis stepped up to make their coach a significant offer. That's apparently the South Florida offer as well. I mean, we're talking, I think, first digit salary of 3, okay, resources, the whole deal. So South Florida stepped up. They put all their chips in. They said here, and right now Hodgson has said no to Syracuse. Providence is still pending.
So it does say that South Florida has more than dipped their toe in the pool of wanting to be a big boy.
Yep.
I'm betting on them, not necessarily to keep him. I'm betting on them in the long haul to find the money and the resources to continue to be a solid Division I program. Maybe it's because I've been here for 6 weeks, 7, I guess. And walking past where the new football stadium is going to be. They seem financially to be all in. Now, I don't know how deep they can dig to get the money. Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. How much can you get? Not just to keep coaches, but to build rosters.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not easy. Now, I would argue it's easier to be a player in basketball than it is football. You know, they have to get into a conference and get TV money to be a player in football. And I don't know when or if that's going to happen. But in hoop, it can be done more easily, David.
When we had Joe Henderson on a couple of days ago, he said, hey, this university, A, is all in. B, they're all in on every sport. You know, all 21 sports are fully funded. And their baseball team won again last night. They're 18-3. By the way, FGCU baseball won again last night too. They're 17-4. But I mean, South Florida's got it going on in more than just, you know, football and men's basketball right now. And they've had a terrific women's basketball program for 20 years. I mean, the guy who was there for most of them wouldn't schedule anybody worth a damn in state, but that's a whole other story. But Mark, and I know this is, you know, you're going to make fun of me after this, and I get it, and I know it going in. But if you're the ACC, is there any way you can kick Stanford and Cal back out west? I mean, is there a way? Is there a way as a conference? Because, I mean, Greg Sankey's talking about breaking away as a conference from the rest of college sports. I mean, we've talked about the great divide that's probably going to happen in the 2030s is when the Ohio States and the Michigans of the Big Ten look at half the Big Ten and go, yeah, you ain't getting the same money as us. I don't know what to tell you. You ain't us. And you have two choices. Suck it up and live what we decide to get you, or tell you what, you ain't going to get nothing. Because we'll either kick you out or we'll leave ourselves, and then what are you guys going to have left? But I'm serious. If you're the ACC and you had this to do over again, I mean, man, if you're the ACC, tell me you wouldn't want South Florida right now.
Over Stanford?
No,
I'm asking you. Said Stanford
over
and Cal.
Stanford and Cal. I mean, tell me if it's now. You're like, man. Tell you what, the Pac-12's reconfiguring. You know, Stanford's. You know, what is it in the billions? Their pool of money, their endowment. I mean, you know, listen, this ain't working. No, you guys. Nobody wants to play you. All right, nobody likes you in the conference. It doesn't fit. You know, even if they have to give them a bunch of here, take 50 million and just leave. We made a mistake. We screwed up. We panicked. You were in a panic and we bought it and we screwed up. I don't know what to tell you.
Geographically, of course, you're right, David. But the ACC, I could be way off base here. But the ACC, I think, likes having Stanford in more than they like having SMU in. The ACC as a conference has always prided itself on being a bunch of great academic institutions. And Stanford comes into a conference with, you know, North Carolina and Virginia and some great academic schools, Duke.
Mm-hmm.
And Stanford jumps to the top of the list.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's one of the great
so
universities
I think
in America.
I guess it would depend on who you're asking in the ACC. If you're asking university presidents, no. I think they'd want Stanford. If you're asking athletic directors who have to schedule games and work with budgets and are dealing with the constraints of their other sports, you may be on to something.
Well, but the presidents also have to deal with the budgets. And there's no doubt, obviously, every university president would go, oh, wow, Stanford in our conference. But they also now have to look at their budgets. And they also know the significance of athletics to their university may be greater now than at any other point in our history.
No doubt.
And so I'm just wondering, okay, if you're the ACC, I mean, is there a way to say to Stanford and Cal, we're sorry, you know, there's a penalty.
Not without paying them off.
Yeah, well, then just
you're going to have to write them a pretty big check. I mean, because they're getting because that Pac-12, David's not going to.
I know.
When is the Pac-12 going to sign a media deal in the area code of what the ACC has?
Don't know. Can't see it right now. Can't see it. Don't even think you could see it in the 2030s, although the 2030s are going to be wild, folks. And I mean wild. But I'm just wondering if you're the ACC, one, would you like that decision over? And two, I mean, I don't know. I don't think South Florida would be bad. I put it this way. I think South Florida brings a lot more to the conference than Wake Forest. And I know what I'm saying. That's an original ACC school. I got it.
Hey, I'll just keep it on this coast right now at this moment in time. Who brings more to the conference, South Florida or Boston College?
I mean, Pitt, Syracuse.
Right.
I mean, seriously, if you're the ACC going forward, are we drinking too much of the Kool-Aid or are we on to something here?
By the way, David, Miami and Florida State on line 2. They'd like to have a word with you. Miller and Moulton.
Hello?
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Good for you, Paula. Was that your first time playing there? That's a fun little golf course. I like it. I don't know what kind of shape it's in. It bums me out that they don't have the tournament there anymore, that went away, but all good things must come to an end. And when J.J. Taylor backed out, they basically, that was most of the Pro-Am was their client, so that kind of ended that. They didn't even go for a new sponsor. Understood. Even at the Ford, it ain't cheap. So, David, yesterday Kuiper had Downs, the Ohio State safety, going your way. I know you like that better than Styles.
God, so much better.
He's a player. I mean, that's a very high to take a safety, but that guy's a player.
I think I want the tackle from Miami.
He'd be there.
Uh-huh.
In fact,
I've seen places where he falls to the Dolphins.
This one, this is Kuiper's. You know, I mean, he's got him falling all the way to the Rams at 13. He's got the Dolphins taking the Arizona State receiver.
I will say there's a cornerback that's being talked about being taken very high.
The LSU kid, right? Is that the one you're talking about?
I didn't know if it was that or
is it Delane or Delaney? But that's the first corner I see going on all of these.
You know, the Giants cornerbacks suck, have for a while.
I've seen a couple. I keep seeing the tight end from Oregon going to the Bucs on several mocks, and the Alabama O lineman going to the Lions for you Lions fans in there.
Do you like Sadiq going to the Bucs?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I don't know what edge you're getting there. Now, I've seen Bain fall into the, 10, 11, 12 range too.
Wow, that would be ridiculous.
Or I guess here, like he's got him 9 to the Chiefs.
I mean, if I'm Tampa and he gets past Kansas City, I'm looking
making your move. You're ready to make your move, ready to pounce.
Totally. And I know the Dolphins GM will deal.
Oh yeah.
I know I can get from 15 to 11.
Yep. There's no doubt.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until Seth Everett will join us at the top of the hour. Orlando Alzugary an hour from now. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. What's it? National Sloppy Joe Day today?
It is. I like Sloppy Joes, David. I really do.
And so with that in mind, we said, all right, what are we going to do with a Sloppy Joe? What is it? Well, it's an underrated dinner sandwich. Ooh. How about we ask, what's your favorite underrated dinner sandwich? So we threw out the French dip. We threw out the patty melt along with it. And then did we go BLT?
I went BLT. I did. I had some Cuban sandwich fans yell at me. This person simply said Cubans can most definitely be a dinner sandwich.
Yeah. Okay.
You're right. I don't think of a pressed sandwich as a dinner sandwich. I think of it, especially in most places you go to, they've got it in that nice wax paper. It's easy. Put it this way, why I didn't do it. It's a sandwich, and I don't do fast food, and all of you know that. It's a sandwich I can go grab at a bunch of different joints and eat it in my car and not make a mess. And that's big for me. I mean, David's going through a drive-through. Why? Because he's going to eat it in the car. If I can go to a place and get to-go food and eat it in my car and not worry about making a mess, it leans towards lunch in my book. But that's all right. These people keep coming in with cheesesteak. The key word's underrated. Do you really think a cheesesteak is an underrated sandwich?
Nothing
What
about
restaurant doesn't serve a
Right.
cheesesteak?
Yeah.
Hell, there's a chicken cheesesteak. There's a Philly cheese. We have more damn cheesesteaks than we know what to do with. It's a great sandwich, but it's not underrated to me.
Not at all.
It's rated perfectly. I don't think it's overrated by any stretch of the imagination. But this person also took me to task, David, and said the painfully obvious on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. Miller, and when it starts with Miller, I feel like they're yelling at me. Miller, any sandwich eaten after 3 p.m. is considered a dinner sandwich. Thank you for pointing out the obvious and yelling at me to do so.
Huh.
I feel like, I have a teacher breaking something down to me right now.
Once again, though, didn't realize this question was going to be as complicated and as layered as it was. It's underrated dinner sandwich. Has to meet 2 criterias. But vote accordingly. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. You and I aren't into jerseys. We shouldn't be. One of us is 60. The other is what, 56?
Yep.
Okay. Been a long time since we bought a jersey of any kind. But, I mean, you've got a son in his mid-20s. You've got a daughter who's what, 12?
No, not even yet. She's coming up on it here in about a month and a half.
Okay. So, jerseys are still something that you might have to buy for people in your family.
I'll buy my daughter one. My son's crossed the bridge. He still wears them. He breaks the Miller and Moulton rule.
Post 25, right?
Yeah.
By the way, are we wrong? Should we amend
Yes,
that?
we are. I've given up, David. And you go to games every Monday night, obviously. You were at a
Right.
different venue for 17 weeks doing Monday Night Football.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter what venue you're in. You've even admitted to me, it took you a while to finally get to Pittsburgh. I'm like, David, nobody wears more. And you poo-pooed me. You tapped me on the head and said, that's cute. I go all over the place. Everybody wears jerseys. And then you went to Pittsburgh and you went, holy crap.
Well, because I had Green Bay in my head, and I'm like, let me tell you something. You got to go some to beat the number of jerseys that Packers fans wear to games. And Steelers fan, it was so many jerseys. I literally thought it was like on the ticket that you don't get in unless you have one. It's staggering the number of jersey wearers at Steelers games. But I'm just wondering if all these years that we insisted that unless you're a woman or a child, okay, and you can
And
wear
we've always
jerseys.
said to the game's okay. We've always said if you wear a jersey to the game, we're
Right.
cool with that. We wouldn't do it, but we're cool with it.
But like just, walking around like in those that wear them to church and what have you, we're just like, man, if you're over 25, we're just anti-jersey. But I got to thinking about something when the Dolphins traded Waddle yesterday. Imagine you're a Dolphin or you're the parent of a young Dolphin. I'm serious here. Whose jersey are you buying?
So it's funny you say that because someone had sent a post to Orlando Alzugary, who's going to join us in around an hour, of their Tua, Waddle, and Hill jerseys. And the Big O's answer was he basically went to the throwbacks. He gave the numbers, 13 and the Zonkas, the Marinos, that you're better off going old school for Miami.
Right. I'm honestly.
For the next 5 years until you figure it out.
Well, certainly you got to buy yourself some time here, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, at least this year. I mean, who knows? If Achane does it again, I mean, and then they sign him, does that maybe for 2027 you get an Achane jersey? I mean,
Maybe.
I'm with you. I think you go old school here.
But if
You
you're
know?
a kid, the old school guy means nothing to you.
I
If you're actually
understand.
following, and again, we've said wearing it to the game is one thing. Where Miller and Moulton have always had their problem is even the sports bar on a Sunday, and wearing one around town. It's not something David and I've never bought a jersey for myself in my life, ever. I've never worn jerseys. I had a bunch from hockey teams I worked for. I gave them all to my kid years ago.
So just curious, what do you do here? Where do you go?
I stole one jersey. I still have it.
Wait,
It's a
what?
Washington Generals basketball
yeah.
jersey.
Right. When you played in the game and you didn't give it back.
I didn't play in the game. I had the shoulder issue and
Oh,
couldn't.
that's right. You were supposed to play in the
And
game. They
they-
gave you the jersey and then
And
you couldn't
guys
play.
you guys brought me the jersey and I never gave it back. And since the Globetrotters don't play them anymore, it still hangs proudly in my closet. I think I've worn it to the show once as a lark. But I've given up that fight. It's just not worth it to me. Because people get ticked off and they just tell us how wrong we are because I can wear my Jim Kelly jersey wherever I want. Sure,
you know
you
what?
can.
And
You're
you know
52. You look like a fool, but that's on
Right.
you.
But you know what? You guys are in the majority. This is one that maybe Miller and Moulton were wrong on. We're going to die on that hill, but we might have been wrong. But I'm just curious now. I mean, because we could go through the list. You don't even have to be a Dolphin fan, and you'd shake your head and go, "Holy blank! Look at all the guys they've gotten rid of." But I mean, also think of the jerseys that they've gotten rid of. I mean, you go to a Dolphins game this year, Tua, Tyreek, Waddle, even Minka. How many of you bought a tight end jersey or two and they moved on from them so quickly? I mean, $175 million in dead cap space this year for players who are no longer playing for you. Hell, half the guys aren't in the league anymore. I mean, you're still paying like $10 million for Teron Armstead. Is this his second or third year retired? Thanks, Chris Greer. But, whose jersey do you get? And Mark, your point's a good one. As an adult, you go, well, we'll go old school. Yeah, but Zonka and Marino and Bonacani and whoever is not going to mean anything to my 12-year-old kid. I mean, Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, even if you want to try to go, late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, seriously, what are you going to do? It's tough.
It is. I mean, put it this way, okay? I got you with the HN. If not him, do you take a chance and get the Malik Willis jersey? Where do you go?
Well, I think if you do, you also have to post a photo of how many other quarterbacks jerseys you have. Because if you took the Malik Willis plunge with him having never played a down for you, then you obviously have taken many a plunge before.
Right. I mean, I think you're safer getting the Dolphin polo, the Dolphin t-shirt, the Dolphin hat right now.
No, I know.
I'm not saying you can't wear your team's merch. The point we're making, if you're going to spend the money that it costs to get a jersey, particularly a game jersey with the name on it, they are not cheap.
No.
And Miller and Moulton are partially giving up here. You want to wear your jersey, knock yourself out.
Right.
But Dolphin, what we're telling you is you can get the teal and the white polo plus the gray t-shirt and 2 hats for what it will cost you to buy a jersey of a guy that won't be on the team in 2 years. And that's all we're trying to say right now.
and probably get the Dolphins emblem put on a football and sent to you as part of the gift package. I mean, honestly, I just don't know. What do you do as a parent? The favorite uncle right now, the grandparent. You want to do something nice for the preteen or teen in your life. They're a Dolph fan. Uh-huh.
I haven't wanted Felipe on the show in a long time, and it's usually to talk NBA, but Felipe is a jersey wearer.
Right.
You know, he's a young kid. I think he passes our year test now by maybe a year or so, but he's a young man. And between now and 2030, is there going to be a jersey for him to buy that you feel confident you'll be able to wear for, you buy one in the next 2 years that in 2034, you can still go to the game with the jersey on and that guy still plays for the team.
Do you get a spoof jersey of some kind? Is there a way for you on the back to have future quarterback? Okay. And then, pick a number.
You can't joke with jerseys. I know what you're saying. It's funny. I'm on your side here, David.
You sure? I can't go Arch Manning. Okay. I mean, as a fun gift. For the Dolph fan of my life, I can't put.
Is that really a fun gift, or is that that's a snarky gift, David? Okay, it's funny to you, not to the person opening the gift. You'd laugh your ass off. You'd be sitting there on Christmas, and you're not from a big family. I'm not from a big family, so it doesn't really apply to us. But I can just see David. Everybody's over at grandma's house for Christmas and he buys his nephew a jersey and he's snickering. And to do this, David, you got to start drinking again, because as a matter of fact, in order to do this, you've got to be about 5 beers deep when the kid opens the jersey so you can say something incredibly inappropriate.
Oh, you got to remember, Mark, I'm not waiting until Christmas. Okay. I got to get this jersey before the season starts. Okay, so I got to do this now. So if I'm giving it before the season, this is my way of saying, by the way, this year's going to absolutely suck. But let me tell you, you're going to be a trendsetter. You got the first Dolphins Arch Manning jersey. Here you go.
So basically, it's my birthday. It's late August, and the whole family the family's close. So these are things you and I can't relate to, but the family's close, and everybody gathers for the late August birthday.
Yep.
And he knows you're the sports fan in his world. You're the guy that always talks. You may be more of the sports fan than Dad is, and you've always talked to him about his favorite team. Because in this scenario, David, you also have to be a Dolph fan. If you think about it, this is where the whole family's into one team.
Yeah.
And that's their team. And they may go to the games. They may watch together. You and I are very different from this because we just want the best game. And you're buying him an Arch Manning Dolphins jersey. You are up. Yes, you are. And it ends in K and it starts with P. It is jump past snark right now.
Come on. If you're a Dolph fan, you got to have a sense of humor, and a good one at this point.
This is like buying the Bills fan in your life 40 years ago or 30 years ago at Norwood jersey, for crying out loud.
Well, come on. I don't know. Remember, Arch Manning hasn't happened yet. Norwood's already missed the kick. That'd be a little painful. I'm just saying, I'm at a loss. I don't know, my favorite nephew or whatever. Honestly, well, what Dolphins jersey are you going to get him? I have no idea. No idea.
By the way, text from Felipe, who's apparently listening. I own a Tua, Hill, and Waddle jersey.
Exactly.
God, I love you, Felipe.
Exactly.
I mean that. I genuinely mean that.
Is that $400 in jerseys right there?
Every bit of it. Now, he may be smart enough to get the knockoffs, but if at retail, it's every bit of that. Seth Everett, next.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe. and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Faro and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Faro and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Faro and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Some rings are beautiful. The Koi rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Koi brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and to Koi's newest fine jewelry for spring. Here for one unforgettable weekend, the Legend of Takori, April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Español.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
PBA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com, capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hi, Seth.
Hi, guys. I just got back from taking my kid to school and I didn't have time to turn my computer on.
Fair enough. I thought for a second when you were wandering around, until I saw the ceiling fan, I thought you were back at the car dealer. Like, man, you're having problems.
No. But I had, I didn't have time to like load it up and get it all going. So I was like, forget it. It's 26 degrees outside. Because then I was like, oh, I'll just do it outside.
Seth, it's 44 in Tampa.
Oh,
I mean,
It's
I get that it's much colder there, but it's 44 in Tampa.
yeah,
terrible.
It's upper 30s in Jacksonville.
All right. So we're all close. Oh.
Then again, I don't really go outside much, so it doesn't matter, Seth.
That's
I'm
true.
living Groundhog's Day.
Every day is the same.
Pretty much.
Except you have the show.
I have the show. I'm rewatching The Sopranos. I've watched the first season of Ted Lasso. I've watched the first season of a show called Shrinking, which is pretty good.
I love Shrinking.
I mean, when Harrison Ford's your supporting actor, you've got a good, and the cast is all, I think, terrific. I mean, I think every person in the show does a great job.
It's a great show. It's a really great show. But when you get closer, I have an argument about it.
Mark, a serious question. Since you and I have a sufficient amount of sarcasm and snark in us, how are you handling the overwhelming positivity of Ted Lasso?
I love it.
Okay, well, because I had to adjust to it. At first I usually like a little more angst, although there was angst before the positivity, so it worked for me. I could grow into it.
The greatest line of Ted Lasso ever. You compared being gay to being a fan of the Denver Broncos.
It's pretty funny. I'm not
Greatest.
there yet, and I can't wait to see that.
Oh,
I would say with my current situation, positivity is different than it may have been
it's fair.
8 months ago.
But is there a certain pleasure from watching things you've seen before?
I will
Like
say
The
with The Sopranos, yes, because it's the tells. Like, you know what's going to happen, and then you see which actors are
Okay.
actually figuring it out ahead of time. You watch it a little
Yeah, yeah.
differently. And
Okay.
I've not watched that show since it was
Since it was
on
on.
originally. So it's
Yeah.
been, 20 years since I've seen it.
Yeah. That was always the thing about COVID that I didn't understand, because people were watching all these classic things, and I was like, there's so much new stuff. I never understood that part. And like, I don't know. It's not a criticism by any stretch.
And part of it, Seth, is I knew I was going to be here for 2 months where I had my wife or my mom with me. So I was trying to get it done before them, because I
Yeah.
watched Ted Lasso with my mom. I've never seen Ted Lasso with my wife. I'd never seen Mad Men. So my mom and I have been watching that. I'm trying to find shows that I can,
Yeah.
because like I've kicked my mom out of the room during The Sopranos. Like, go read a book somewhere, because I can't. There's one BJ show, and I don't care how old you are, you can't sit next to mom and watch that scene. You just can't.
That's awesome. I mean, it's a great show. It's a fantastic show. Shrinking's really good, though.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We are halfway home, at least in Jacksonville and Tampa, St. Pete. Final hour of the show in Southwest Florida, Port Charlotte, Venice, Live Oak Lake City. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question today, it's National Sloppy Joe Day. So we're asking most underrated dinner sandwiches. 2 keywords there, underrated and dinner. Every sandwich can be a lunch sandwich. Not every sandwich can be a dinner sandwich. So we've got 4 choices for you. Patty melt, French dip. All right. BLT, which was against Miller and Moulton's, recommendations, but you guys beat us down on that. And a Sloppy Joe. And with Seth Everett joining us, curious your vote. Most underrated dinner sandwich.
I thought that segue was going to be, speaking of sloppy, here's Seth.
There you go. We could do that too.
Yeah, okay. I would say for dinner, the French dip, I would say, is the go-to.
Okay.
I'm right there with you. It's my all-time
Yeah.
favorite. Seth, I know you were not in to the World Baseball Classic, so I won't get into talking about the game or anything like that, because I know you don't care. You care about injuries. But I will give you your kudos of the time of the year, because I'm watching last night and I was interested and I enjoyed it. Whatever.
Yeah.
But when they start showing a graphic in the 5th inning of the pitchers that that Venezuela can't throw, because the major league teams have told Venezuela you can't play these guys, I'm like, this is
so dumb.
Am I wasting my time watching it? I mean, if they can't play, why am I watching? And I know you want it in November. I think the middle of the season would be better. But Seth, I immediately thought of you, and I know you always focus on the injuries, but we've got 7 pitchers that can't pitch tonight because their major league clubs have said no. In a tournament that they own, that's, think will benefit their sport long term, because the numbers have been terrific from a television standpoint. But it just kind of showed me this is a farce.
Well, there's 2 points to that. Number one, it could be moved and still be great. I mean, for all the people that are watching it now, they'll watch it in November. So that I never understood why the motivation for March. And I just want to clarify one thing that you said. When we were talking about the Olympic hockey, it was injuries. This is not injuries. This is pitch counts, and this is pitch preparation. And every starting pitcher, I don't care if it's baseball in 2026 or 2015 or 1985, these guys have only a few bullets in the holster. and they should not be pitching meaningful games in March. You just shouldn't do it and then expect these guys to make, to be part of 162 games. In hockey, it's more about broken arms and broken legs and things like that. In baseball, this is all about pitching. And I said, and this is when in 2006, Tommy Lasorda called me a communist because I said if I was a GM, I wouldn't let any pitcher pitch in this thing. I'd let all my position players play because it's at bats. It doesn't make a difference. But pitchers are vital, and that's how you win championships. And it's more important for Tariq Skubal to pitch for the Tigers than it is for his country. And if you say that the country is just as important, then play it in November.
And I'm a July guy. I think the players are, quite frankly, going to negotiate it the way the hockey players did. I think it means.
Well, but here's the thing about July. I have a genuine question about July. What about the idea that your team is out of the playoffs by 2 games? You're the Pittsburgh Pirates, and Skeens is going to leave now in the middle of July.
You know what?
To go pitch for his country.
I'll tell you what. I'm really tired of the whole effing world. The whole world not willing to sacrifice anything for anything. Do you want to help the sport or not? You're going to have to sacrifice and risk something. Yes, a player might get hurt. God forbid. Yes, it could hurt the Pittsburgh Pirates in the summer of 2028. At some point, somebody is going to have to sacrifice or
But David,
risk.
who gets hurt?
Risk.
Who gets hurt?
Well,
who gets hurt by playing this thing in November?
No, but okay, here's the problem.
So let Paul Skeens throw complete games. Let
Seth,
Nolan McLean and Tariq Skubal throw these games. Let all the Venezuela pitchers play the game. Make it a real competition.
Seth, Skeens is shut down September 30th. Pirates didn't make the playoffs. Okay, he hasn't pitched for 6+ weeks. Secondly, free agency.
That's right.
Free agency.
Which is why I said play it in October. I've always said to play it in October, but that doesn't make logistical sense because you want to get ratings. I understand.
Free agency
play it in November.
Free agency begins 5 days after the World Series. How many of these guys are going to be free agents? Okay, so then they're not going to play. Okay, they're not going to play. They're literally a free agent.
You literally
no. They're not under.
Ways.
They're not under. They're not getting paid. They're not under contract. Okay, I'm just saying they won't play. Now, I would still play, but they won't play. I honestly,
you sat there and you don't want any college football players playing in these bowl games because it can affect their draft status. But Paul Skeens should play in an international tournament while his team's in a pennant race.
It's not costing the Pirates anything.
It's compromised. It's completely compromised.
First off, okay, he really wants to play in it. Secondly, it's a phenomenal thing for the sport. Phenomenal.
And it doesn't lose one iota of phenomenal in November.
Yes, it does. It's called football, Seth. We don't pay attention
Play it during
to
the week.
anything.
What football game is on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? We don't have enough days in the week that we can't avoid competing with football. So also in June, you're gonna have, or July, you're gonna have that tournament, and you're gonna ask the Japanese team to go to Tokyo in the middle of the season?
No,
for 10 days.
No, obviously.
Oh, so that aspect of the tournament that gets thrown out because we'll play it in what, major league stadiums? Why don't we get Miami again? They're free. The parking lots at the people's lawns are open.
Okay. Hey, listen, if you don't want it at a certain time, you can always come up with the excuses.
Those aren't excuses. Those are real.
They're
not excuses.
Everybody is in shape. Everybody is ready to go in July. Quite frankly, why are we playing the All-Star game? It's meaningless. It's crap. Why do the home run derby? Okay, and then get yourself out of your hitting rhythm and hit 212 for the rest of the year. I'm sorry. Nobody anymore wants to risk anything or sacrifice anything for any common good anymore. It's all about me. Well, you know what? play the damn thing in March and November and have it be not as good.
I
Well,
think sports are about sacrifice, and I think I've been watching nothing but sacrifice. And you watch an NHL game, and these guys are literally diving in front of pucks to protect their team. It happens all the time in sports. This is extra. This is frivolous. And this tournament, if you wanted to make it about a tournament and a competition, play it where the players aren't compromised.
All right, I'm going to switch gears, Seth, and talk about something else because I don't feel like yelling.
Sloppy Joe.
But I am going to talk about hockey because two things have happened here in the last week and a half. They've both been suspensions. The first one was Moulton. Moulton slashing a guy in the head, and apparently that's not worthy of a hearing. That was a Zoom meeting, 5 games. Then we get a knee, and Austin Matthews is done for the year. Again, a Zoom call and 5 meetings. The three of us all love the NHL. The NHL, we were all wrong, by the way. Post-Olympics, the numbers have been, it's never happened before. Usually these Olympic tournaments happen, and the TV numbers do not reflect any bump whatsoever. The numbers have been through the roof. I mean, TNT's damn near doubled what they've been doing. So the Olympics from that standpoint worked. It's undeniable. Yet, one star who didn't play in the Olympics because he's Russian, another star who helped the U.S. win a gold, one was the deliverer of a cheap, dirty play that should have got him more than 5 games. But the league definitely wants he, and especially Sidney Crosby, in the postseason. So they don't suspend him more than 5 games. The hit on Matthews, knee to knee, I don't know what I'm more upset about. I know what I'm more upset about. Not the suspension of 5 games, the fact that not one player from Toronto did a damn thing about it. If I'm Austin Matthews, I'm demanding a trade. Get me out of here now. But is the NHL getting a pass on these suspensions? Seth, you pay pretty close attention to the league. I know you're a Devils fan first, but you pay attention to these things. It seems that the league has been pretty laissez-faire with their suspensions, if you will.
I mean, to me, this sounds like collective bargaining, and the players have to be, pretty unified. You're right about what you said about Toronto. I saw that story. Just the fact that nobody said anything and nobody seemed to do anything. This is one of those things where I think, as the players negotiate, these are some of the non-economic situations. Having a better penalty system has always been in place. I remember when I worked for baseball, the way they changed the idea, and it used to be Bob Watson, the late Bob Watson, and then they moved it to Joe Torre. And if you noticed in baseball, all the suspensions changed. They were all 2 and 3 games. It got a lot more lenient. So it's just it has to be collectively bargained. And I agree with you. It's 2 egregious situations in hockey that didn't help.
They also keep putting guys who were not skilled players in charge of discipline, guys who lived on the edge, and they need to get different people that are handing out the punishments. Got about a minute. Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. What do you got?
Oh, Sports with Friends. Women's History Month. We have a young lady named Rachel Herzog. She's the pre and post game host for the Devils, but she played 4 years for the St. Cloud State University, and after her graduation, which was like 10 minutes ago, she worked in Fargo, North Dakota as the weekend sports anchor, and on a whim sent an email to MSG Network and got an interview and got the job. They hired her because she's another hockey brain, not a talking head pregame host. It's a fascinating story of how this girl literally just threw a dart and it hit. And now she's in New York City on MSG Network. It's a fascinating conversation. Rachel Herzog on Sports with Friends.
Seth Everett. Follow him on X at Seth_Everett. Orlando Alzugary, the Dolphins, 25 minutes away.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I will agree with you New Yorkers that a beef on wick is a great sandwich. I would say it's underrated. It's a very regional sandwich. I don't know if a lot of people would even know what it was. When my buddy Blinko had his bar, in Raleigh. It's the first time I ever had one. I had never heard of it. But that is an incredibly regional sandwich. Because you can go to a lot of places that try to call themselves buffalo wing bars and they don't have the sandwich. I mean, it's hard to get the bread, guys. That's the one thing I will say. Hard to get the bread. A lot of text here.
Okay.
I may be having a Reuben for lunch today, Detherian, because we made corned beef last night.
It's a good lunch.
But I'm a Russian dressing guy. You can't get Russian dressing anywhere. You've got to make it. And I don't have all that. I got to see if there's. Yeah, I may just go corned beef and Swiss. Just a lot easier.
Hey, when did you stop being able to get Russian dressing? Because growing up, that was a staple.
I think you probably can still get it in the Northeast, David. It is very much. I think it's one. I think it's. I mean, I know it's called Russian dressing, but I'm familiar with it from a Jewish deli.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. The Big O, Orlando Alzugary, to join us. Mark and he will talk music. I'll ask him questions about the Dolphins teardown, with Jalen Waddle being sent to Denver for a 1 and a 3, and then they flip 4th-round picks in this year's draft. But Miami got all the picks for now. They don't have to wait. 1 and a 3 this year. Then Denver gets Miami's 4th, and Miami has to wait 20 picks later to get Denver's 4th. So there you go. The Dolphins tear down. The Big O, Orlando Alzugary. We'll talk to him in a little over 15 minutes.
I had a couple things to do during that break, but I wanted to offer you the Snickers. You were fired up there. I enjoyed that. What I enjoyed more than anything is while you were fired up, there was a couple people, because I let you guys go. And I was I'm like, this is fun. I'm just drinking my coffee. And I laughed my tail off that there were 2 or 3 people in the chat room went, look at Miller. He's just sitting there having his coffee. And that's what I was doing. I'm like, this is good. There's no need for me to interject here because I really don't care one way or another. You guys get after it.
I'm just shocked that a hockey guy who has seen the unbelievable benefit to the sport that he loves so by what the hockey players have done the last 2 Februaries between the 4 nations and the Olympics. And he wants to talk. It's the equivalent of like the hockey tournament let's play it in August. What the hell? Who cares? I don't know.
Well, when are they playing the World Cup, by the way? Because they announced the Hockey World Cup with 8 nations. Is that going to be mid-season?
First off, none of the games in the U.S.
Yeah, Canada and
Czechia.
Prague.
Yeah. Which, by the way, hello, we've won everything. Shouldn't the United States get a little something? I mean, literally, men's juniors, women's juniors, men's Olympics, women's Olympics, Paralympics. I mean, honestly, the United States right now has the gold medal in every single major hockey competition. You're going to hold a major hockey competition and not have a game in the U.S.? All right, I got that off my chest.
I'm sending you not an edible arrangement. I've got an Uber Eats gift card. I'm using it on you for a milkshake.
You know what this is? Was it Monday or Friday? You had to fast and you were grumpy. Okay. And we just all had to suck it up because you were having a long day, a lot of tests, no food or drink, and it sucks. Okay. And we knew it and we put up with it. I got nothing till after 1 o'clock, basically.
All right. Well, we'll suck it up and deal. By the way, back to the jersey conversation, because this gets people riled up, and Miller and Moulton are just dying on the vine. But obviously, a Detroit fan here says, I'm 58 years old. I have an Aiden Hutchinson jersey and a Datsuk jersey I wear during our 2 weeks of cold here in Florida. All right. This person just says, can we start a surge of Ricky Williams jerseys, please? And here's when we bring up our pet peeves, and we have to accept this, David, others then bring up theirs.
Fair enough.
And this is one that pisses a lot of people off. He says, jerseys don't bother me, but don't wear a Phillies hat to a Braves Cubs game. And it's so funny because baseball guy does this more than any other sport. Baseball guy will wear his cap or his jersey, and you see it in spring training a ton. You go to a Red Sox Twins game, and here's a guy with a Tigers hat on. Like,
right.
They're not playing.
But he couldn't get, the Tigers are 3 hours away, and he just wanted spring training baseball. Did you see what happened in last night's Islanders-Leafs game? There's one guy in the whole arena who's wearing a Canadiens jersey to an Islanders-Leafs game in Toronto. Mark, he got hit in the head with a puck. Okay, and everybody going, well, of course, you wore a Canadiens jersey to an Islanders-Leafs game in Toronto. You should get hit in the head with a puck.
You know what? I think you're onto something.
And I mean, cut him, and they had to give him first aid, and then give him the ice pack and whatever. I mean, he had great seats. He's like third or fourth row. Okay, but it just over the boards hit him in the head.
The other side of this too is if you're wearing a Canadiens jersey, aren't you expressing that you're a smarter hockey fan than I mean? Isn't deep down what you're saying? I know more about hockey than you do.
Well, and you're totally making fun of the Leafs, who haven't won a cup since '67. And
no. I'm kind of talking French Canadians and Montreal fans.
Oh yeah,
There's an arrogance to that's the Yankee fan of the sport. They've won the most cups.
Yes,
they have the most history.
Right.
If you're wearing a Canadiens jersey, aren't you proudly saying, "I know more about the sport than you do"?
Right.
And then you get hit by a puck
in the head. Right.
Which means, your hands didn't get up. You weren't paying attention. You might have been on your phone. What the hell was going on?
Right.
That you didn't see the puck coming.
Right.
Because I got abused years ago. And it's probably the funniest thing Craig Brush, who runs the minor league team that I worked for in Southwest Florida, ever did in a meeting. I was doing public address for a game. It may have been a preseason game. It may have been, and I think it was, but it may have been after I was done doing radio. And every once in a while, when our normal PA guy couldn't do the game, I would do it. So when you do PA, you're in between the penalty boxes. You're right there in the action. And the newspaper put a photo in of a check along the boards right at the scorer's table. Mind you, there's glass there. Mm-hmm. There's no way for you to get injured from a hit on the boards when you are, wait for it, on the other side of the boards. Who's the PA announcer with both arms up, essentially ducking from the hit that no way could hit him out of instinct? Yours truly. And he sets it up in a staff meeting. I have no idea the pitcher's there, and boom. There comes the newspaper in the middle of the room with me looking like a turkey. That one stung because you can't do it. You're like, got me. Yep. I'm done.
That's
you
the
win,
reverse.
I lose.
It's all over social media. It happened a couple years ago. That's the reverse of the lady sitting behind the plate at the Blue Jays game, and the foul ball comes screaming right back at her, and she doesn't flinch because she knows. She's protected, okay? And so everybody couldn't believe that she didn't flinch because everybody around her flinched and she didn't move, okay? And so apparently they were like talking about this like all throughout Canada. Well, she comes back the very next game. There's a foul ball, comes screaming right at her again. She doesn't move. It hits the screen. It drops down. She waits like 2 seconds, and then she pretends to freak out.
Well done.
Yes.
Well
I
done.
mean, so she's like, she's the best at it. A, she didn't flinch, and then B, she made fun of everybody who does.
Kudos to you, ma'am, because I was punked. And it was, and you know what? They deserve to do it. But yeah, that was, I enjoyed that last segment. I'm with our audience. I wrote that down in my best of list. That was a lot of fun. Now, can I just ask you a question? And we've got about a minute. I'm with you that we need to sacrifice. You didn't seem to want to sacrifice to what Seth was talking about doing at postseason. I agree with you more than I agree with him, but I do understand his point that shutting the season down is not what owners want to do. I mean, there are two sides of this, and
I got it. The thing that bothered me was he made it seem like November was not a sacrifice at all. That November made sense because it fits everyone, and it doesn't. Okay, if you've been shut down for 4 to 6 weeks, and now what? You're going to start right back up. Never mind, the whole free agency begins 5 days after the World Series. I think November's worse than March, to be brutally honest with you. But that's all. I
don't know if any time's worse than March. I don't, because and just what got, and it's not even an American player. When the 10 or however many Dominican pitchers couldn't throw because the major league teams told the manager, you can't pitch my guy. I'm like, what? Why am I watching this then?
Venezuela won last night. There were 3 pitchers he couldn't use. The Big O, Orlando Alzugary, music and the Dolphins next.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Aurora, you crack me up because they're all pigs, and I love the fact that you are just blatantly teasing them with not giving answers. 36 Bud Ice Cold. Come on, that's just damn funny. You've made me smile this morning. I have to be honest. That has been funny.
And they look a lot better, Aurora. A lot younger, which they needed to get. And the defense was a disaster. I'm curious about this whole letting Kingsbury go, though.
It's funny. I mean, like this one mock, I see them getting David Bailey in one, and then your guy Sonny Styles in the other. Aurora, you are 100%
Totally
correct.
Yep.
100% correct. It shows one, maybe Joe's married, maybe he's not, but it screams, I live in the basement with mom.
And those wondering, Sonny, I think, has ditched us.
Yeah, he got mad at me and left. And the only time you can ask a lady her age is when you're trying to find out if she's old enough to buy a drink for. And once they've hit 21, you're really not allowed to ask anymore.
Hey, David, we got about a minute. Do I need to call Orlando, or are you just waiting for him to connect?
I text him, and he hasn't responded. So probably Rick will probably do the same thing if the music starts and we're coming back on air and there's no sign of him. Give him a holler.
All right, got it.
I understood, but you played along, Ambient. But you're young. Oh, you're right, Johnny Finger Lakes. I think we're talking more in social settings, not for. And you're just asking them for an ID and you're looking to make sure the number's not under this.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour in the Diamond District bonus hour here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Poll question today, National Sloppy Joe Day. Mark says, ooh, love me some Sloppy Joes. Ooh, very underrated dinner sandwich. So we said, how about we go with that? Underrated dinner sandwiches. Threw the French dip on there, threw the patty melt on there. All right, a lot of consternation about number 4. We went with BLT. Miller and Moulton didn't necessarily want to go there. We went with your guys' choice. We were debating the Cuban. Okay, remember, there are 2 key words in the poll question. Underrated dinner. Vote accordingly. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. Hope to catch up with Orlando Alzugary coming up here shortly to be able to talk Dolphins and a little music, because we always do that with the Big O.
French dip in the lead, BLT in second, patty melt in third. They're all well ahead of the sandwich for the day, Sloppy Joe.
Huh.
Showing how underrated it is, getting no votes.
That is underrated.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Where'd you come in the race? 4th. Oh, 2%. What? 2%. Well, people just didn't get the message. That's all. Miller and Moulton on this hump day. A reminder, college hoops tonight. First 4, Miami of Ohio, SMU, probably the game that will interest you the most. A little after 9 o'clock, the women's first four gets underway also. He's known as the Big O. If you want to get the best coverage of sports in South Florida and music, you go to Orlando Alzugary. Okay, Big O Show. Big O Show is how you follow him on X. Hey, Dolphins did you a little solid yesterday. Nothing like making a major trade in the middle of your show. How are you?
Yeah, no, it was actually before my show. I still was able to do it because yesterday I was at Hialeah Casino, and we're not on until 2 in the afternoon.
Ah.
So I didn't like today. I'm at Subaru, so I'm at 11 a.m. because I'm usually at 10, but sometimes I do different times. The customer.
Yes.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? The customer.
Always right.
Oh, and so we got a break. It was at 2 in the afternoon, so I was able to prepare, and I got a high pitched softball for the show yesterday, so that was good because there was
doubt
else to talk about, dude.
No doubt. Hey, first off, what do you think of the move? I thought they got a 1 and a 3. I know that was talked about at the trade deadline, but he's a guy that's not going to be there if this whole rebuild works. By the time they're good again, he would have been older. A 1 and a 3, they flip-flop 4s. I thought it was good for the Dolphins. What did you think of the trade?
Fantastic for the Dolphins. I thought Waddle was maybe a second-round pick. The fact they got a first and a third, I don't know how Sully held out for the third. Like that takes some time to hold out for that third, because I see it shows that I would have made a crappy GM, because I probably would have given in already on the first and swapping of the fourths already. I would have been happy with that. So he got a first and a third. Waddle will be 28 in November. So you're gonna be terrible for the next 2 years. You're gonna start turning the corner maybe in year 3, and 4 is where you'll be good. That's if you made all the right picks. He's the right GM. He's the right coach. None of those setbacks happen. So 4 years from now, Waddle's 31. It's a great foresight move by John Eric Sullivan, and it was also a really smart move on his part, because weeks ago he said, "No, we're keeping Achane, we're keeping Waddle," instead of going out there and saying, "Well, we're going to rebuild and everybody's available," and now you lose leverage. Well, he gained leverage in that moment by saying, no, we're keeping these guys. We need these guys. And so if you were going to part from them, you had to be wowed by the offer. And I think that's what happened. And that's what will happen with Achane. If somebody wants Achane, they'll trade him, but you're going to have to wow them. And it's kind of hard with running backs, because running backs aren't really that valuable. So that's kind of the tough one for the Dolphins.
All right. How are you with this teardown? 175 to 180 million in dead cap. That'll be 60% of their cap this year. But also with the teardown is the 2-year trial with Malik Willis. Just curious, how are you on the teardown? And were you thumbs up, sideways, or down on Malik Willis?
Okay, first of all, the Malik Willis signing was absolutely asinine. It makes no sense whatsoever. It's not even the Green Bay way. Okay. So, years ago, I can talk to this audience right here on the show. I don't know if people are watching. Some of you might be too young. But back in the day, Dan Mikowski won like 10 games. Then they kind of struggled for a couple of years because Mikowski was kind of a mediocre quarterback. They trade for Favre, and then they take off. And that's because Green Bay already had the team in place. They just needed the quarterback. And then while Favre played for 20 years, they drafted another guy named Aaron Rodgers, and they marinated him for a couple of years. And they pushed Favre out, and then they put in Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers stepped into a ready-made team. And then Jordan Love did the same thing, steps into a ready-made team, and Malik Willis steps into a ready-made team. The Miami Dolphins are morons. What they do is they draft Ryan Tannehill, and they have nobody around him. And so the poor kid, as bad as it is, he doesn't register well up here. So now with less around him, he struggles. You bring in Tua, who's fragile. Not a guy to take a lot of pounding. So you put Jesse Davis at his right tackle. You give him no weapons. Your line is so bad, you have to make Waddle a slot receiver, because he doesn't have time to get open on the outside, because Tua will die because of that line. I'm tired of watching the Miami Dolphins do stupid. Stupid is getting a young quarterback and putting behind a terrible team. You know, or the Philadelphia Eagles win a Super Bowl every time because the quarterback is stinking interchangeable. The teams are ready. Nick Foles, all you got to do is make a couple passes. Jalen Hurts, all you got to do is make a couple passes. You know, when Tom Brady stepped in and won his first title, he didn't have to do much. He just had to kind of put it in cruise control because everybody else carried his butt. When Ben Roethlisberger won that first Super Bowl, he won it on a ready-made team. That's the way you do things nowadays. You look at Sam Darnold. He's not going to carry you, but he was on a ready-made team. And so for me, I thought we were getting the Green Bay guys who are going to go make the team and then go find a quarterback, because that's the way I think things should be done. Instead of, hey, let's draft a guy. Now we're on the clock. Now we got to get it done within 4 years, because if we don't get it done within 4 years, we got to pay the guy and cripple the team. That's stupid. So they all of a sudden did the moronic thing. And guess what? The moronic thing became incredibly moronic now because you traded Waddle. Because now the team's even worse.
There's no doubt.
Judge him for the next 2 years. You got to judge him on a curve because he's playing behind a terrible football team. So how do you judge a quarterback behind a terrible football team? So I love the tear down. I wanted you to tear it all the way down like what you're doing and get picks and do all the stuff. But you don't put Malik Willis, a limited quarterback, behind a terrible football team. And that's the part that I completely disagree with.
Well, the only thing I will say is I don't think they're spending a lot of money in doing so, Orlando. That's the money's not bad.
So let me ask you this. So if he Damon Heward's the thing, if he Matt Moore's the thing, if he Ryan Fitzpatrick's the thing, you're trying to tank the flow thing. You're trying to tank, and he helps you win 2 or 3 extra games. So instead of winning 1 or 2, you win 3 or 4 or 5. And then all of a sudden, instead of the number 1 or 2 pick, you're now sitting at number 6, 7, or 8. It's so freaking Dolphins. Okay? So if this guy's not a star, this is a stupid move. If he's a star and these guys said, bro, this guy's a franchise player, we've got to keep him now because this is our only window and we never know when we'll get one. I can deal with that because I've been dealing with it since this. Okay? So I can deal with that if you want. If you're going to tell me that that's the guy, then go ahead. He better be that. He better.
I understand. No, I understand.
If he's Matt Moore or Ryan Fitzpatrick or some other slappy that just helped me get an extra win or 2 or 3 or 4 and get out of the top pick, stupid.
All right, I got to get to this, Orlando, because it drives me nuts. I hate the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think should be shut down. When they started when new additions win in the damn fan vote, there's something completely wrong with this place. But there are a handful of bands, and I want to know your thoughts. In Excess, the Black Crowes, Iron Maiden, are they Hall of Fame bands?
I'm not putting the Black Crowes in there yet, but I put Iron Maiden in there. There's a couple of other people that look, it's not the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's the Music Hall of Fame. Okay? It's kind of like what I tell everybody. They shouldn't have called it global warming. They should have called it climate change, because then it's misunderstood and misdefined because they think everything is warm about it and it affects the winter too. So that's the problem with the whole thing here. It's not properly defined. It's the Music Hall of Fame is what it is. There is a Metal Hall of Fame. There is a Country Hall of Fame, so you have different types of Hall of Fames that are available. This has become the Music Hall of Fame is what it is. And that's what we have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? But there's several bands there that deserve to be there. The Black Crowes is one that, I'm kind of there's bands right now that are in there that I wouldn't have put in there. I need you to have a lot of hits and sell a crap ton of albums and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if I put the Black Crowes there at that point yet.
In Excess and Iron Maiden both in?
Oh God, I would. I mean, Iron Maiden have been in a long, long time ago. I don't understand why they're not even in there already. But metal is not treated the same way in the Hall of Fame. That's just kind of the way it goes. They don't go to that level often. It has to be so obvious by the time they put a band in there.
All right. What are you going to do for the next 5 months? I mean, the Heat are mediocre. Okay. You've been on that for a few years. The Marlins are mediocre at best. Going to be tough to compete with a payroll of $8. Okay. The Panthers are going to, sit this one out and regroup. I mean,
Right.
what do you?
That's the best thing. That's the best thing for the Panthers.
I agree.
I talked about this about 2 months ago. It's like the worst thing was to kill yourself to get there when you don't have enough for that fight. And then you just take another beating for another couple of weeks, and then you're out. And you know what? You need an entire off season, a reset, recalibrate.
And they're going to get to keep their first round pick because they're probably going to be one of the 10 worst teams. So they get to keep their number one.
Yeah, this is actually a good little reset for them, and they can come back and be monsters again next year. This was just you just were stung with a whole bunch of bad luck. So right now we're stuck with like Inter Miami right now because we do have the best, soccer team in the country, by the way. So that's about the only thing that we have, and then we'll have the Canes rolling around because it's definitely not, the University of Miami. I'll go next month to Vegas to go see No Doubt in the Sphere. How about that?
Oh, I like that. I'm going to be without concerts for about a year.
I'll see Santana and No Doubt over in Vegas. So.
All right. I'm going to get mocked. I'm going to see Bon Jovi in July at the Garden.
Okay, listen, you do know he can't sing.
Yeah,
right?
I'm aware. Listen, Orlando, I'm going because my wife is going to have a tongue stuck out of her mouth watching him just bounce around on stage for 2 hours.
No Sambora, and he doesn't play the old stuff.
I know.
He plays a lot of the new stuff. He plays maybe less than half of his set.
I know.
Old stuff. And you're like, oh, dude, that's what made you. This new stuff you're playing, nobody cares about it. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what? My wife's going to be very happy. Trust me. 11 o'clock at night, it's going to work out very well for me.
She's never seen him?
Oh, no, she has. Just not in a while, and she needs her fix. That's all.
Okay, no. As long as then if she saw him when he was Bon Jovi,
right?
Then that's cool. Then you're good. Then you're good. If you've never seen them and then this is what you're gonna go see, that kind of hurts a little bit. I try to warn people for concerts ahead of that. By the way, remember, go to setlist.fm for whatever concert you're going to, because there they put in all the set lists. And so you can find out ahead of time what bands are playing, so you'll know if you're happy with the kind of concert that you're going to pay for.
And you can sneak out and get a drink and go to the bathroom. That's the key with Setlist FM.
Yes. He's the Big O, Orlando Alzugary. His daily podcast is called The Big O Show. Nobody covers.
You can find it, Big O Radio Show.
Nobody covers the South Florida sports scene better. Okay, follow him on X at Big O Show. Thank you, Orlando.
Pleasure's mine, fellas. Have a great one.
Have a great show. Thanks for joining us once again. So, it's tough to get an opinion out of him, but, we do our best.
Yeah, he may be right on the Panthers, and we didn't have time. I wondered about trading Bob. They're going to have to spend money to keep him. He's a free agent. I just don't know, David. I just don't know there. Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Some rings are beautiful. The Koi rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Koi brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and Koi's newest fine jewelry for spring. Here for one unforgettable weekend. The Legend of Koi, April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Español.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Some rings are beautiful. The Koi rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Koi brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and Koi's newest fine jewelry for spring. Here for one unforgettable weekend. The Legend of Koi, April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Español.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
PBA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Governor, I saw that same tour. Bon Jovi opening for Rat. Thought I saw it in 84. At what was then called the Brendan Byrne Arena in Jersey.
I'll remind you again, David, but after the show, if you can, if you got to go, you got to go. But if you can stick around, I've got a funny story for you. If you can, can't tell it on air, can't tell it during the break.
Yeah, I'll have to. Unfortunately,
Okay,
I'm sorry, but
that's fine.
I have a 10:30.
Me too, but mine's 30 seconds away.
Right. Mine's 20 minutes.
Called a roller hockey game at the Brendan Byrne Arena.
Did you
The
really?
New Jersey Rock and Rollers.
I saw indoor soccer and indoor lacrosse in that building.
I will say, of all the sports that never gained traction, lacrosse is the one that I thought had the best chance of the fringe sports, if you know what I mean. I saw that Tesla just played the Hard Rock. I saw a clip. It wasn't half bad. They weren't my favorite, weren't even close, but I'm like, all right, whatever. No. If you're a lacrosse guy, I get it. I'm just saying it never, lacrosse guy thought that was the next thing. And I actually thought they had a little there.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour on this hump day. Let's get over it together, shall we? Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Kicking around World Baseball Classic. Kicking around the Dolphins. We haven't heard any resistance today. I thought we'd get a few Dolphins fans going, oh, man, we'd already torn it down pretty good. Why do we have to get rid of Waddle? I mean, we couldn't have kept Waddle. He doesn't turn 28 till November. He's under contract for this year and 2 more. I mean, don't we need some good players? We haven't gotten any of that, Mark. Everybody's like, oh, no, great. Fantastic. Give me the picks.
Get the picks. And I think a lot of it, do you know a Dolphin fan that thought Waddle was a 1?
No.
That's why I don't think anybody has a problem with it. I mean, they really got rid of a number 2 receiver for a first and a third.
Yeah,
That's a hell of a haul.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. But on the Dolphins, he would have been your 1.
Granted, but that, again, that's to me the point. And I think the Dolphin fan is so upset over what they thought could have been the last 3 years. They thought, going back to scoring 70 against the Broncos or whatever moment in time that you saw the Dolphins at their best. And I think at their worst is the game that you've talked about, the loss at Tennessee, right? Or at home against Tennessee, Tennessee, excuse me.
Yeah,
the loss against Tennessee, where they're going to win the division if they win that game. They're going to host a playoff game. Instead, they go to Kansas City in that cold weather. The season ends like it always does for the Dolphins with a playoff loss in the first round. And I think that moment in time, the Dolphin fan just looked and went, oh, crap. Because there was a reason to be excited. I mean, there truly was. You and I bought in. I mean, not necessarily thinking they were going to win a Super Bowl, but we thought they had the right quarterback. We thought things were going in the right direction.
How different? Or would it have just prevented the inevitable for a few more painful years? But, that season that Mark references, I think it was 2022. And all they had to do, they are in firm control of the division. They had 2 home games left. They needed to win them both. They would end up winning the tough game at home against the Cowboys because the Cowboys won 12 games that year. But a couple weeks earlier on a Monday night, they hosted a bad Tennessee Titans team with Will Levis making like his 8th career start. And they blew a 2-touchdown lead in the final 5 minutes at home with Fangio as defensive coordinator and Jalen Ramsey and all those good defensive players that they had. And if they win that game, they would have been the 2 seed, would have won the East, would have been the 2. Okay, would have had a bad Steelers team come to them in the 2-7. They would have won a playoff game, which they haven't done since the Clinton administration. And they would have hosted the Chiefs probably in a division game. And who the hell knows what would have happened in warm Miami as opposed to freezing Kansas City. But, inevitably, they blew it. And they haven't been close to the same franchise in the 3 years since. And now here we go again, Mark. Here we go again. The only reason I played devil's advocate about fans, I'm surprised that a few of them aren't unhappy about the Waddle trade, is because we've listened to forever Dolphin not having confidence in them making good with the draft picks. So they had a good player, maybe even a very good player, and they traded him away for what? Picks. And we've listened for years, but certainly in the last 6 weeks, when we asked Dolphin fans about a teardown, and a lot of them said, we're just going to screw it up anyway.
I think that the Dolphins kind of adjusted to the new regime. I think they like the moves they're making. And I don't know, there's no one out loud giving them a chance, David, but I think quietly they're going, all right, let's see what this group can do. I will say, is there a Florida pro football fan base right now that thinks their team, the Dolphins have a teardown. We get it. Bucs fans, do you think you're better now than you were at this point a year ago? Now, I think Jags fan thinks they're better than they were a year ago, but how happy are the Jags fan with what they've done this offseason? I think they're, you and I both think ETN was too much. It was too pricey for what New Orleans paid.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the moves that the Jags have made, when you look at the moves that the Bucs have made, just take the Dolphins to the side. We know that's a teardown. But I've not heard, we got a couple diehard Jags fans that either text or are in the chat room, and we're obviously on in Jacksonville, so we know we have listeners up there. We're on in Tampa. We have a lot of Bucs fans that listen to this show. Bucs fans think the coach is, dead man walking right now. That's what and when the players have come out and basically left the team and have, in not so many words, said the same thing, I don't think the Buc fan is all that excited about this coming season. Now, all you have to do, in my opinion, is win 9 games and you win the division. But Jacksonville's division looks like it's a little more difficult this year. You're not going to catch anybody by surprise.
I can tell you that the Jags fan is totally on board with every aspect of this regime, from Tony Boselli as president to the young GM who came over from the Rams to Cohen as the head coach. And the organization is telling them, yeah, I know we lost a couple guys. First off, we kept some guys. Secondly, we got about a lot of dead cap money that we got to deal with here. We're going to just need to pay the price for one more offseason. Trent Baalke really screwed us, because the Jags have like $75 million in dead cap money that they have to just suffer through this offseason. So Jags fan is convinced, by the way, you're not a Trevor guy, even after last year. Okay, Jags fans are all in on Trevor. That's the other thing. They're like, well, we got the best quarterback in the division. Okay, and we've got 3 corners and 3 or 4 wide receivers. So believe it or not, we think our line was above average. Okay, we do have to shore up a couple areas of the defense. Jags fans are curious if they're going to do that in the draft without a first-round pick.
2/3. I mean, they do have 3 in the first 100, so there
Right.
are spots to get, and I think the offensive line has to get a little bit better. I would love to see another pass rusher, but I'm with you that they've got a good back end. The defense was terrific last year. They could use another pass rusher. They need a linebacker, obviously, with losing a key guy.
Well, and also Jags fan, they're all in on Travis Hunter also. Okay. And so the secondary couldn't cover at the end. Well, they feel like they're getting a top corner back from injury.
Right.
They were terrific against the run. You're right. They need a pass rush. Mark, to be honest with you, they got to replace Lloyd at inside linebacker. They need an edge rusher, an inside linebacker, and probably 2 members of the secondary. And Jags fans like, can we line up right now and go? We think we're ready. Now, they might be, drinking the Kool-Aid and they may drown with it. But that's where Jags fans like. They're like, this organization from Baselli to Cohen and everything in between totally changed 2 decades worth of Jags misery. They changed it in 8 months.
Okay. Well, good. Now, as you've pointed out a lot since the end of last season, you've said this, David, a half dozen times, maybe more. This year's big for Jacksonville.
I think it is.
They've not put together back-to-backs.
Right.
They've been here before.
Mm-hmm.
But then they don't run it back.
Right.
And I'm excited that the fan base is all in. Now, obviously, we have a 3-year spell here of half season or half capacity playing somewhere else before we get the whole stadium done. So it's going to be an unusual year for the Jags, to say the very least.
For what it's worth, Mark, that's the only area where they've made some of their fan base unhappy because they're playing before half a house. So season ticket holders are getting moved or getting told their season tickets are just no longer available, period. So that they're having to deal with as an organization. But, that's a secondary thing compared to we're talking about on the field and players and wins and losses. But, yeah, I think this year's half capacity, then in 27 in Orlando, and then 28 it's supposed to be back and, everything's grand.
And by the way, I was incorrect. They have 3 third-round picks. So they have 4 picks in the first 100 picks. I mean, they can fill some holes there. You hit 3 out of 4 there, you're doing just fine. I think they're offensive because I look at the division, David, and I think you've got to be better than Houston again. And I know you think your quarterback's better than CJ Stroud. Right now he is. I don't know if he's elite, but he's in that middle 12 to me. I don't think he's a top 12 quarterback or, I think or top 10, 11 quarterback, but I think he's in that next tier. He can be at the top of that next tier. But when you're playing Houston twice with that pass rush, I worry a little bit. Great receivers, love it. I worry about the offensive line.
Yeah. You and I always worry about everybody's offensive line. That's a constant worry of ours. That's like us going, you never have enough pitching. We just don't think you have enough offensive linemen. We just don't. Doesn't matter who you are. Detroit, Philly, a couple of years ago, we still were like, you could use an extra guy. It doesn't hurt to have a better swing tackle than Dan Skipper.
And by the way, look at the Lions right now. How quickly it went from being the best offensive line to, boy, they need a couple of guys now.
Happens quickly, doesn't it?
They lost a guard to free agency. The center retired. They got rid of the tackle. It's like, oh, wow. Holy snap.
And then they draft somebody, and he's not quite as good right away as they thought he'd be. And boom, it can happen quickly.
So, the Jags, to me, and it's great to hear their fan base is there. Would love to hear from more of the Jags fan. But Tampa, do you really think you're better right now than you were at this point a year ago? I don't.
No.
Miller and Moulton, the Diamond District bonus hour. Today was the day when. What's on tap? The good, the bad, and the ugly. That's all 25 minutes ahead.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Some rings are beautiful. The Koi rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Koi brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and Koi's newest fine jewelry for spring here for one unforgettable weekend. The Legend of Chicory, April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Español.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Do you see my response?
I did not yet. Yeah, that's the one. It's an all-timer right there. It's an either way. If it was vindictive, then gone. And if it was out of incompetence, same answer.
It could still end up being yes.
Right. Yep.
Because certainly now, at the very least, you start your journey in uncharted territory with certain important people thinking you're an idiot.
Right. I did get some interesting news. I got to check with a couple of people, and I probably should have asked John, but the guy from Audio One reached out to me yesterday because apparently we didn't log off, and I talked to Rick about it. Whatever, no big deal. He just said, make sure you do. And I'm like, I'll let the people that know. And I kind of told him what my situation was. And he's like, that's right, I remember. Because I said, it's not me. So, but, and he was aware of us looking for some equipment. There is a system via computer instead of getting a Comrex that he recommended. It's a lot cheaper.
Oh, okay.
Like it's 10% of the cost.
Wow.
Right. But it's online. So you can do it monthly or you can buy a lifetime subscription, and it's not that much money. It's out of Europe. So I had to do a little converter, but it was like $310.
Oh my God.
Right. So I'm going to have G look into it.
Because I paid 5 years ago, I paid 4 Gs for my Comrex.
Yeah, they're about 2,500 is what I looked at for what we need. So isn't it so it won't get 8? Yeah, 7, 8, 9. That's it. I knew we were somewhere there. I knew there was something. Way to go. It's a good dad joke, Aurora.
I don't know. I actually think it's a bad dad joke. But,
well, considering you're telling it to I think of a dad joke as that you're telling it to a 7 or an 8-year-old. That's that, But it may be,
I know. Aurora with the dad jokes. What's going on here?
And you're getting up at 9. When did you wake up, Guillermo? And did you take the morning off from the office? Are you faking billable hours for the first part of your day?
Did you walk outside at 11 o'clock and just yell? And if you woke people up in the neighborhood, so what?
I mean, is that all because the Blue Jackets won? By the way, Emmerich was telling a story on a podcast. God, we got to try to find a way to get him. But apparently they didn't have enough seats to sell in I think the old Boston Garden. They realized that the organist didn't use the bench. They sold 2 seats and you sat on the organ bench, but you had to get up when the PA announcer said there's a minute left to play in the period because the organ only played during intermission.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts all coming up. Unless you've got one or two things that we haven't gotten to, couple of odds and ends here. Ready?
Go.
So Dolphins GM has officially come out and said Achane not available. Now, a couple of weeks ago, he said Waddle wasn't available. But as of right now, the reporting is teams have called. They're like, hey, if you're selling off everybody, how about everybody? And the new GM's like, we're going to stop at the running back. Okay. All right. We'll see. Players' championship ratings came in.
Really good.
Best since 2019.
Yeah.
What's interesting is think about the last 3 winners before Cameron Young. They were 2 guys you may have heard of before. They were Rory, Scheffler, and Scheffler. And Cam Young beating Matt Fitzpatrick got like 1 million more viewers than did those golf tournaments.
And think about it. It's Cam Young, Matt Fitzpatrick dueling it out. I mean, yeah, they both played Ryder Cups, but it's not like these guys are big names in the sport, if you know what I mean.
No, I mean, you know, if you're a golf fan, you know who they are, but I mean, they don't have huge followings.
I get that you're a golf fan, but I mean, they're not your favorite if you're a golf fan. I mean, do you know anybody that says, man, I'm really rooting for Cam Young this week?
Well, right. And both of them, you know, have about as much personality as a cardboard box. So terrific golfers. But so anyway, so once again, most every sport out there doing really well, which is why some of the NBA ratings are so concerning, even though it's year 1 of an 11-year deal. And Adam Silver can tell all the NBA people, just shut up and cash the checks that I negotiated for you. We joked about it, but we weren't joking. We said for a year now that the NFL was going to call up each network that has a deal with them, and they were going to say, we need $1 million more a year, or else when your contract's done, you're done. And sure enough, that's exactly what the NFL has done. Honked off at a couple of the networks that they're in bed with and their NBA television deals, NBC especially, in which they're paying more money to the NBA than they are to the NFL. The NFL called up CBS last week and said an extra $1 billion a year, or else we're done with you as soon as we contractually can be. And the word is CBS is going to pay it.
What
Well-
choice do they have?
Well, there you go.
What
Now-
choice do they have? You know, I've seen so many people, David, that say, what would network television do without the NFL? Because you look at the top rated programs,
Sure.
and it's obvious, you know, of the top 100 rated programs, what's like 87 of them are NFL football games or whatever the number is. David, I'll take it one step further because I saw someone else say, you know, something about why you don't go to cut the cord, because if you look at what's on cable, there really isn't, you know, other than live sports, what is there on cable you can't get streaming? What television show? And you get them all without commercials, by the way. And I know some people, you know, I have people that text, oh, I just like to flip channels. I don't know what to tell you. But I think the NFL is not just important for network television. I think it's the lifeblood of cable television. Meaning that why do you need to have like the package you have without live sports? It's propping up every other network. What the hell do you need A&E for? What do you need all these channels for that don't have live? Every one of those shows is available via a streaming app. And the bundling that still happens, it's not what it once was. But explain to me why you need Xfinity cable if there's not live sports on it.
You don't.
Right.
Not if you're us. But you could argue, even if it's not the demographic listening to this show, that if you really think about it, you can get this elsewhere. Now, right, it's streaming and it's more difficult to go from streaming channel to streaming channel. And right, yeah, okay.
But if you're not a sports watcher and you just want to watch, you know, I don't know, Landman, name the damn show. I can watch the streaming without commercials. And you know when I can watch the next one? Right when the last one ended.
Yes, you can.
You want to watch movies. I mean, whatever it is.
Right.
Stand-up comedy. I mean, you name the show that's not better on streaming than it is on traditional television.
But the NFL is giving their networks an ultimatum. An extra $1 billion a year. Or else take a good look at when that contract ends. Because we gone. And then you think about your network without the NFL.
By the way, one thing to go back to the players, if you can find it, it's spectacular. And there's not a husband or a wife out there that hasn't been there in the last 3 days, let alone period. Cameron Young's wife is next to Cameron Young's caddy. And they've got it on a hot mic. As he's getting the award at the players and, you know, they're going through all the emotions, she looks at the caddy because obviously that's part of the team and kind of part of the family. They all travel together. And she says the question that we all ask at least 4 times a week. At least. So what are we doing for dinner? It is the most real moment I've probably ever seen on television. Because we can't relate to winning millions of dollars and winning golf tournaments and all of the great things that we watch these athletes at every sport do. But you know what we can relate to? Talking to our wife or being on vacation with our friends and going, so what are we doing for dinner?
So you tried to turn me on to this. Isn't Netflix doing with golf what they did with F1? Aren't they? Don't they have a show?
They have a show,
and they're getting access that, you know, we don't
Full
normally
Swing,
get.
right? Few seasons of it.
Is that the name of the show? Full Swing.
That's the name of the show. But I think what you're talking about is what Roll-Up has done. He's teamed up with NFL Films, and they did I think they call it Sunday Drive.
Gotcha.
That they did on the players specifically, and they're going NFL Films, and doing this, which is, I think, going to be great television.
Well, this is very golf goober talk, but 17th tee at the players. We all know the hole, 135 yards, surrounded by water, and It's a 2-minute exchange between Mattia and his caddy, Joe Griner. And Griner wants him to hit a hard, straight wedge. And the player's like, I don't know. I'm thinking cut a 9. And the caddy's like, pins all the way back. Okay, the ball's bouncing hard. I don't know if it's too much club. And they just go back and forth. The caddy's trying to be supportive of the player because he knows the player may ultimately do what he wants, but he's also trying to make his case. And this is very behind the curtain if you're into golf. 2 minutes of a player and his caddy on the 17th tee at the Players, and it's amazing. Just telling you, it's amazing. It's like, ooh, I want to watch this show.
I was at a senior tournament many years ago when Ray Floyd was on the cart path and the drop was in a bad spot. And I'm like, he's got to try to hit a 5-iron. The caddy suggested it. Ray gave him a dirty look, took out the wedge, and hit it to 5 feet.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells.
Did we lose Mark, David? I think we did.
Yeah, Rick, his internet, the last segment of this show is problematic. It must be the building he's in because this has happened a lot in the final segment of the show.
Okay.
And it doesn't happen any other time.
Okay. Well, the network break would be over in about 7. I was going to maybe just start running some of the local stuff I have here, but the local break's over right now anyways. I mean, the network break.
Right.
I don't know what happened there. I apologize.
Well,
because that's our commercials. That's something happened with my phone. It's on me.
Well, Rick was able to help out a little bit.
If for no other reason than to fill the time, but I just hit like 1 or 2 of the spots I still have here.
Okay, good deal. Thanks, Rick.
Because I could tell you disconnected pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Well, I'm just going to, you know me, what a technological savant I am. I have noticed in the last week, I'm guessing it's the building you're in.
I'm not using the building's Wi-Fi. I'm using my phone.
Yeah, but it's got to connect somewhere. Usually, for whatever reason, you've only locked up between 9:30 and 10.
Yeah, you know why? Because I need my computer to get the good, the bad, and the ugly stuff. Whenever I can, because now that I've added the commercial program to the mix, I think it's taxing my system quite a bit.
Okay.
So I can use Twitter, I can use the text line, but I used to have a lot of stuff up in case I needed to reference something.
Sure.
I'll let you all behind the scenes. I generally have our lads up. So if we're talking about a team, I can quickly look at who their free agents are, who they lost, and I don't screw up, for lack of a better term. But I put the good, the bad, and the ugly on there. I'm now doing that on my phone, and somehow I was sending a text there, and I somehow disconnected my hotspot. That's on me.
Question going forward, not just there, but when you get home, should we, out of the business, do you need a second computer?
I have my laptop and I have a computer at home,
Okay.
and the computer at home's rock solid.
Okay.
And I have the computer that the commercials are on.
Okay.
So I actually would have 3, and might need all of them.
Okay. Well,
But I also have rock solid internet at home, which I
Correct.
don't have here.
right,
I'll be hardwired to everything.
right. And I know you know this, but if obviously whatever we need for the show, and if you have to purchase an additional piece of equipment, for any reason at all, just do it.
Yeah, I think there's one Gentry's been showing me, believe it or not. It's a new board, and the cool thing on it, it has Bluetooth. So if we have to call guests, I can hook my phone right up to the board.
Kind of like we had that last time with the plugged your
Yeah,
phone
but it's
into
Bluetooth. I don't even have to
right.
plug it in.
That's true.
So yeah, I mean,
That was so great, though. You got so many great phone numbers in your phone because of that.
damn right I did. I was talking to John yesterday. I got to get the commercials back up. I want Biz, and it has nothing to do with the NHL. He told a story about the sports arena in Toledo, and I've worked that building. He played junior hockey in Saginaw. I didn't realize that. I could do an entire interview with him and literally never bring up the NHL. And to me, it would be better than talking the NHL with him, because I know where I'd start, because I'm guessing she was still there when he played in the Wheel. There was a pretty good looking girl, and there weren't a lot of those in Wheeling, West Virginia, but I think she was a sponsor's daughter.
Gotcha.
And I would ask him, was she around when you played? And I would bet $1 to a dime he'd know who I'm talking about.
Well, if you want, we could tape it after the show one time, and we could just, use it over different, we could do the Tirico Michael Jordan and just use it over different days.
Yeah, how's that Jordan on the NBA thing going? Have they?
It ain't working for me. I just find the product right now offensive.
No, but I mean, I don't know. Has Jordan been on since?
Oh, no. Oh, well, no, they've cut it up. They've used it 4 or 5 different times, but no.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
The home stretch on this hump day. Thanks for being with us, getting over it together. Got some good sports on the docket coming up. Don't forget our poll question if you haven't voted already. National Sloppy Joe's Day. We think that is an underrated dinner sandwich. So, what's your favorite underrated dinner sandwich? Put the French dip on the list, the patty melt on the list. We did put the BLT on the list. Don't know about that. It's probably going to win. Along with the Sloppy Joe, that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X.
All right, that's why it happened. I had a little blip there during the last commercial break, and I had to fix some things, and I missed a button that time, David. So that's on me. That's I could hear everything just fine. Everything in my headsets was wonderful. And you're looking at me like, what the hell's the matter with you? I shared the damn screen.
Mark's going, 30 seconds now. You should have started talking 30 seconds ago. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
David, this one's for you. We start in 1766. Apparently it was too late, but Britain repeals the Stamp Act, which had caused outrage in colonial America and helped lead to the American Revolution. All about stamps, David. You know what the problem was? Lines at the post office, apparently.
Stamps and tea. Stamps and tea, baby. Let's go to war.
1881, the Barnum and Bailey Circus, traveling as the greatest show on earth, debuts at the Madison Square Garden in New York City.
I loved it. We went every summer, every spring for years. Loved it.
I just remember when I worked in Nashville, the team that I worked for, the offices were in the basement of the municipal auditorium. And when the circus came to town, they used the parking garage at the bottom of the building to keep a lot of the animals. And the smell of tiger urine for a month after was disgusting. Disgusting.
The elephants were, put it this way, there was not a potpourri ever made that could overcome the elephants.
Well, they were outside. The tigers were inside. So I hear you. It was today in 1892 that this Lord Stanley presented a Silver Challenge Cup for hockey. You may have heard of it. It's the Stanley Cup. Because Miller and Moulton celebrate AM radio like two old guys would. It was today in 1922 that WBT in Charlotte, North Carolina began radio transmission. Still a big station in Charlotte. We'd want this one back, David. Today in 42, FDR signs Executive Order 9102, creating the War Relocation Authority, which with charge was overseeing the movement of Japanese Americans during World War II.
Yep. Screwed that baby up.
We'd want that one back.
Yeah.
Today in 45, Rocket Richard becomes the first NHLer to score 50 goals. Today in 65, Soviet cosmonaut Alexei Leonov leaves the spacecraft Volkod 2 for 12 minutes and becomes the first person to walk in space. 1970, the NFL selects Wilson as the official football and scoreboard for official time. The Duke, still in use today. Neil Young's Heart of Gold hits number one in the U.S. today in 72. Had a couple of backup singers on that track you may have heard of, James Taylor and Linda Ronstadt. The Clash released their first recording, White Riot, today in 77. And in 95, Michael Jordan announces he is ending his 17-month NBA retirement.
Wasn't it simply, I'm back?
Yep. Yes, it was.
Yeah, like 3 weeks later, wearing number 45 and, not in shape. He put double nickel on the Knicks at the Garden.
And today in 97, Ben & Jerry's introduce my wife's favorite Ben & Jerry flavor, fish food. In conjunction with the jam band Fish, proceeds from the chocolate ice cream with marshmallows, caramel, and fudge-shaped fish are donated to the band's charitable Walter Wheel Foundation. The pride of Caldwell, New Jersey, Grover Cleveland. I did that for you, David.
Thank you.
Ernest Gallo, Julio's brother. Wilson Pickett and Irene Cara would have all celebrated birthdays today. Guy Charbonneau is 66. Running back Kurt Warner, 65. The first African-American Miss America, Vanessa Williams, 63. Speed skater Bonnie Blair is 62. Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains is 60. Queen Latifah, 54. Zdeno Chara, 49. Maroon 5's Adam Levine, 47. JT Realmuto is 35. By the way, there's a lot of talk that he's going to be a manager. Whenever he's done, they say he's basically walking right into being a manager, for what it's worth. Makes sense. Catchers see the game differently, knows how to handle a pitching staff, all of those things. And Emmanuel Clase, who's going to go to jail, is 28 years old today. What did I miss, David?
By the way, it's nice to go running back Kurt Warner. That's a name from the past.
Yeah.
Okay, who was much more heralded than quarterback Kurt Warner. Coming out
First
of college.
round pick of the Seahawks.
Darn right. Okay, helped them when they went to the AFC Championship game for the first time. He was their bell cow back. I think running back out of Penn State, I believe.
That's right. That's right. Anything I missed today?
No, you hit them all.
Oh.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Reading, Massachusetts for the good, where two brothers, Matt and Craig Taylor, build miniature Irish pubs on wheels for holidays, weddings, and backyard parties. The Wee Irish Pub can be delivered to your doorstep so you can get all the atmosphere of the Irish pub and never have to leave your house. For the bad, we've got a syrup problem, David.
We do?
A syrup spill on California Highway 9 closes the highway for nearly 9 hours. They say it was a very sticky situation.
Oh, come on now.
No?
I'm trying to think. Is that above a dad joke or is that?
No, it's a terrible dad joke. Everything about that's horrible.
Gotcha.
But I did it anyway.
Yes, you did.
And I leaned into it. I wasn't afraid of it.
No, you embraced it.
And finally, the ugly. We go to Fort Myers Beach, where Warren Bourne was arrested for some bad things. And he was supposed to go to court. Well, he skipped court. They found him in Cuba. The good news is apparently they were able to get him back from Cuba. He had purchased a new boat. He was trying to get to Costa Rica, but authorities brought him in, and he'll face his sentencing after all. The good, the bad, and the ugly brought to you today by the Cape Coral Police Department, offering great pay, signing bonuses, other jobs available. So if you think the Cape's in your future, Jacksonville or Tampa, go to capecops.com. That's capecops.com.
Obviously, college hoop tonight, same as last night. True TV, that's where you go. Tonight, the early game, Prairie View and Lehigh, battle of 16 seeds. And then the battle of 11s, Miami of Ohio. Is it like 5.5? They're an underdog, which I'm surprised at. I really am.
Out of the 11 games, they're the biggest dog, and it's not close.
They're a 5.5-point dog against SMU.
In fact, I've got it at 6.5 right now.
Okay. I mean, I'm surprised it's this big. SMU did not end the season well. I know they're getting one of their key players back, but he's missed 7 games. They only won 5 times this year when not playing in their own arena. Okay, this arguably the weakest team in the tournament is probably the loser of this game. And yet SMU's favored by 6.5. And they're playing a true road game. That's the other reason why. Don't you have to take the points? I mean, everybody in that arena is going to be rooting for Miami of Ohio.
They are, but Miami of Ohio played one of the 5 worst schedules in Division I basketball. We pointed out it's not their fault. They tried to play teams. No one would schedule them. Hopefully the conference loss gives them some rejuvenation. David, if I were to bet it, I'd bet SMU.
It's interesting. If I were to bet it, I'd bet they still the Red Hawks.
I believe they are.
NBA, there's 9 games tonight, and there's probably only 2 good ones, and the 4-letter network's got them both. Although I don't know how good the first game will be since Steph's not playing. Golden State and Boston. The 9:30 game's pretty good. It's the Lakers in Houston. Lakers have won 6 in a row, and they're up to 3rd place in the West.
Houston's kind of a mess. See if the Lakers can make it 7 in a row.
NHL.
You know, we should have known who was playing tonight if you were listening earlier when Seth Everett joined the show. You would have thought it would have been the other way around. David yelled at Seth. Seth took it. Rangers and Devils tonight.
They're the first game on the TNT doubleheader. 9:30, second game of the TNT doubleheader. If you're going to watch one regular season hockey game this year, this might be the one. Dallas at Colorado. They're the 2 best teams in the league. They're separated by 3 points in the standings. It's a must-win for Dallas. They could cut the deficit to 1. Colorado owns the tiebreaker by a big margin with regulation wins. Meanwhile, if Colorado gets a regulation win tonight, the road to the Cup's going to go through the Avs.
Carolina and Pittsburgh also at 7 o'clock. It's not on TV. You need ESPN Plus for it, but it's a big game for Pittsburgh. Obviously, Carolina, the best team in the division, and has a pretty comfortable lead over Pittsburgh. But the Islanders, they've played one more game than the Pens. They're tied in points. Columbus only 2 back. So it wouldn't take much for Pittsburgh to fall into that wild card spot and be battling with Detroit, Boston, Ottawa, Columbus. I mean, so there's a lot on the line for Pittsburgh to at least get a point tonight.
There's 5 teams for 4 spots, separated by 2 points in the East?
Yeah.
Between Pittsburgh, the Islanders, Boston, Detroit, and Columbus.
You throw Montreal in there, they're only 1 point ahead of them at 84. So still a lot of work to be done in the National Hockey League in the Eastern Conference. Whereas in the West, there's a couple of teams battling for that last wild card, but the 3 in the 1 division are already in. And then there's a bunch of bad teams fighting for some playoff spots.
There's 8 NIT games that are out there. I think they're on ESPNU and ESPN Plus because the women's tournament's on ESPN2. They got the same deal, the 11s and the 16s, although they're playing their 11s first at 7 on ESPN2, and the 16s are the nightcap. And that's it. WBC's over. All right. The full field tournament doesn't begin for another 26 hours. So tonight might be a good night to, maybe give up the TV. Do something nice for the person in your life who you're going to abandon for the next 4 days.
I'm going to let her watch the Penguins.
You married so damn well.
Then she's going to be happy. That's like I say that, and she's going to be happy. Oh, we get to watch the Penguins tonight? Terrific.
I know. She's going to be thrilled, and you're going to get to watch hockey.
Exactly.
I know.
We've already got a poll question tomorrow. We'll go through our brackets tomorrow, reveal who we have in the Final Four and who we have cutting down the nets. David and I disagree. At least our initial question from Pat Kerwin, we gave different answers. Got to print out a bracket today. Got to go down to the hall of the computer and get a real bracket printed out. We'll talk brackets tomorrow. Miller and Moulton. Have a great Wednesday.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
EPA
sound.
Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Thanks, Rick. Talk to you tomorrow.
You got it, Mark. Have a great day, buddy.
All right, you too.